To the game between the Montreal Canadiens and the Detroit Red Wings.
Detroit Red Wing Hockey is brought to you by your AMC and Jeep dealers, home of the AMC Concord, Pacer, Spirit, and Jeep vehicles. And by Labatt's. For beer at its finest, call for Labatt. And by Bank of the Commonwealth, trying hardest to help. And by Little Caesars, a winner any way you slice it.
Hi again, everybody. I don't know. Sid doesn't know. I don't think anybody really knows. It all depends on construction. This could well be the last game that is ever played here at the great old Olympia Stadium in the Motor City of Detroit, and if it is, it's going to hold a lot of fond memories. The Red Wings and the Montreal Canadiens tonight, and Sid Abel, the Wings are out of it. Washington won their game this afternoon. Detroit can't even beat them out, so they're going to end up in the Norris Division basement. But one of the big things that's going tonight will be that battle between Guy Lafleur and Brian Trottier, though they are 1,000 miles apart.
Well, the battle for scoring, Bruce, and the battle between the Canadiens and the Islanders to find out which team has the most points overall. In case they get into the finals, the team with the most points would have the home advantage in the final series.
Well, as for Guy Lafleur, you can be rest assured that he'll be flying in this hockey game tonight. Last night, when the Canadiens just clobbered the Washington Capitals, Lafleur a total of 5 points the last I checked. And tonight, he will go into the game trailing Brian Trottier by only 3. Trottier with 132 points and Lafleur with 129. The Islanders tonight at Madison Square Garden in New York to play the Rangers, a game that starts about a half an hour after this one here at Olympia. Marcel Dionne, as we're talking about that individual scoring race, finished his season last night. L.A., Los Angeles Kings, played their 80th game, and Dionne had 5 points, which was a pretty fair night's work, but he still finished 2 points behind Trottier, pending the outcome of the games here in Detroit and at New York tonight. Well, we'll be back with more after we pause now for this.
Dreams fly by on a blue winter sky. Let the feeling surround you. Dreams come along. This is where you belong. Let the feeling surround you. Take a while and share a smile. Snowy and blue. This magic winter moon.
Well, Sid Abel, while we were talking about Guy Lafleur and his quest for any scoring title, if he has one thing going for him tonight, it could be the fact that just prior to game time, the Red Wings found out that Willie Huber went to a doctor this afternoon. He has pulled up lame with a leg injury that's going to keep him out of this hockey game, and he is an integral part of that Detroit defense, and that could help Mr. Lafleur a bit.
That could, Bruce. I'm interested in finding out. I said last night that Lafleur would probably play 45 minutes of this game, the fact that he had a chance to overhaul Trottier. But the basic thing that the Montreal Canadiens have to do, they have to win this hockey game in case the Islanders win. So he may just take his regular shift and play on power play.
Well, they say Mr. Lafleur was at the Olympia today at 2:30 this afternoon, if you can believe that. The Red Wings will be finishing the season with Jimmy Rutherford in goal. And it'll be Kenny Dryden indicating the importance of this hockey game to Scotty Bowman and the Montreal Canadiens. He'll be in the net for the Canadiens here tonight. So we look forward to what can be a whole lot of fun, and we're going to be back with the opening face-off in just a moment.
new excitement in small cars, AMC's new Spirit DL.
Let the Spirit move you. Let the Spirit move you.
Sporty looks, corduroy bucket seats, and a sleek instrument panel. American Motors has the Spirit.
Let the Spirit move you.
See all the new AMC cars for $79 at your Metro Detroit AMC dealers.
What do you get with your interest from most banks when you deposit money?
Next.
What do you get with your interest when you deposit money in Bank of the Commonwealth?
I got a piano.
I got a piano.
I got these tools. I got a watch.
At Bank of the Commonwealth, when you deposit as little as $1,000 in a 7-year, 7% time certificate, you'll not only earn big interest, but also a big bonus. Some bigger than others.
Trying hardest to help. That's the Bank of the Commonwealth.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, a true north, strong and free, and stand on guard, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Et avaleur de votre paix, protégera nos foyers et nos droits. Protégera nos foyers et nos droits. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail as the twilight's fast gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, all the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets went glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave through the night, and our flag was still there. Oh, say does the star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And the two teams out onto the ice. You have heard Jim Albertson with the national anthem. It'll be Kenny Dryden on the right of the screen in the nets for Montreal, and Jimmy Rutherford, who has played extremely well over the latter part of the season. In the net again for the Red Wings, it was Rogie Vachon who played the game last night. The Wings lost 4-3 to the Pittsburgh Penguins, but it was not Mr. Vachon's fault by any means. Matter of fact, 2 of the goals went in off Red Wing players. So Detroit will start the hockey game with Paul Woods at center ice, Golduck on one wing and Libet on the other, with Perry, Miller, and Larson back along the defense. And Lafleur is out to start the game with Mondu and Gainey. This is Serge Savard clearing it ahead. It's dumped into the Detroit zone by Pierre Mondu. Rutherford in behind his goal, cleared it along the boards. It's up along the glass, caught on the pad, and the play will stay in the Detroit end to the left side of Nick Libet. In the intermission of the first period, they will have a brief award ceremony here. Presentations to some of the Red Wing players. We'll be talking to the general manager of Olympia Stadium, vice president of the Red Wings, Lincoln Cavallari, about next year, where this hockey club will be playing. And Ted Lindsay will be joining Sid Abel in the second period, or the second intermission. Now Lafleur played it right back into the Detroit zone, in behind his own goal. That's Perry Miller who cleared it, and it came out center ice, and back after it, Larry Robinson. Now to Savard. Nick Libet checked there by LaFleur. He turns it off to Larry Robinson. Robinson back along his own blue line, and here's Gainey moving it into the Detroit zone with a shot. He fired it way wide. Paul Woods goes in after it. Now Paul Woods, a long pass too far for Libet, and it went right through Savard, and they waved off the icing. The referee is Ron Wick. Ron Finn and Don Koharski are the two linesmen. Puck fired back into the Detroit zone. This time there will be an icing, as Miller is back to touch it, and the play will come back into the Montreal zone. And I'll tell you right now, the Red Wings are skating set.
Yes, and this crowd is going to set the tempo for this game. They're up and cheering right from the opening faceoff. And, of course, most of the eyes are going to be on LaFleur to see just what he does. And it's going to be interesting, Bruce, when they post the first score coming out of New York as to what the reaction will be. We'll find out how many of these fans are really following the race.
Actually, it's a shame that game starts a half an hour after this one. Now it's Netamansky giving it off to Dale McCord. He was checked, and the puck came out center ice. John Hamel played it off the boards to Danny LeBratton. Out on the right side, Netamansky couldn't get to it. At center ice, Mario Tremblay turned it back in to Guy Lapointe. Lapointe handing it off to Engblom, and the Canadiens start out. Out on the right side, Tremblay. Tremblay's pass to Riseborough. Riseborough tried to center it. It went off to the side of the net. They take it in along the boards, and Dale McCord starts LeBratton now. Danny LeBratton with Netamansky on the right side. The two of them over the line. Here's LeBratton. LeBratton's pass knocked away out in front by Tremblay. There is going to be a penalty coming up. Lambert, who decked Danny LeBratton, is going to go off, and the Wings will have the power play. A pause in the action, no score in the game. We're back in just a moment.
Little Caesar's Pizza, nobody loves it like the kids on to me. Nobody loves it like Little Caesar's Pizza. Nobody loves it like my favorite treat. Nobody loves it like a kid, Little Caesar's Pizza.
See your local TV book for a free pizza coupon.
Montreal Canadiens, Yvon Lambert picks up a boarding penalty. 1 minute, 52 seconds, and so the Red Wings will have the odd man now. They stay out with McCourt, LeBratton, and Netamansky, Reed Larson, and Perry Miller. Doug Jarvis, number 21, wins the face-off, and Serge Savard backhands it back out to center ice. Jarvis giving chase to it, so Perry Miller hands it off to Larson. Ahead to McCourt. Now Dale McCourt checked right there, and Savard wheels it into the Detroit end. Larson back after it. Here now Perry Miller coming out. Miller making his way out center ice with a pass to Larson. He sailed out over the top of the goal. McCourt in off to the rebound. Now that's Danny LeBratton. It bounced away from him. Savard takes it. He's being checked there by McCourt. LeBratton got a stick on it, couldn't control it. It was kept in. Here now a chance for Netamansky with a shot. And it was partially deflected by Bob Gainey. And the puck driven back into the Detroit zone. A minute and 12 seconds left in the penalty to Lambert. Now LeBratton deep in his own end. A long pass coming out to Netamansky. Center ice to Larson. Off to McCourt. Dale McCourt back to Larson. Here's Reed Larson turning at the line, and he tried to set up Netamansky, but Savard broke that up. Now Savard handed it off to Tremblay. Mario Tremblay just dumped it in behind the Detroit net. Back after it, Perry Miller. 45 seconds of the penalty time remains. Still the early moments of the hockey game as Reed Larson turns inside his own blue line. Now that's Perry Miller ahead to LeBratton. Danny LeBratton hands it off to Saint Laurent, and he was checked by Savard again. And it's driven down the ice. Rutherford grabbed it off to the side of the goal. 25 seconds left in the penalty. Harold Thompson, Saint Laurent ahead of him. Saint Laurent over the line. Polonich coming in, and the pass didn't get through to him. Polonich dumped it into the corner. He and Lambert go in after it. Polonich battling for it. And Lambert sent it to the line. Not out, but it did deflect out to center ice. And Larson is back after it. And the penalty is now over, and Lambert coming back on. Larson moves into the Montreal zone. Larson in behind the net. Played it out in front. Saint Laurent takes it. Andre Saint Laurent trying to turn away from Lambert. That puck is loose. It came back toward the line. Miller held it in, but his pass knocked away, and Larry Robinson drives it down the ice. There'll be an icing call as the Wings are back after it. In just a moment.
Hello, I'm Charo. I want to show you what happens when you take your car to make auto painting and body work. We pound out bumps. We sand the body. We mask the chrome. We make your car sparkle. They let you pick out your own color from thousands of choices. And you get your car back fast looking Gucci. So get a quality paint job at Mako.
There are hundreds of Mako locations coast to coast and in Canada. Look for the one nearest you.
Paul Woods is centering Nick Libet and Danny Bolduc for the Wings with Hamel and Greg Jolly. That shot by Hamel knocked away by Dryden. Lafleur is out there again. The play stays in the Montreal zone. Engblom steering it over on this side. Hamel couldn't hold it. It goes the length of the ice, and they're going to whistle it down for another icing. And the play comes right back into the Canadian zone.
And the Wings are putting pressure on. The power play, the Wings haven't scored in their last 14 attempts, but the power play appeared to be fairly good. They moved the puck around fairly well, but for one reason or other, when they were in position to shoot at the net, they tried to make passes instead of making Dryden come up with something.
Referee Ron Wicks was over talking to Scotty Bowman, who more or less motioned him over there, questioning the call a moment ago, I believe on the icing. It looked as if Hamel could have played it, but they whistled it back into the Montreal zone. Now Larry Robinson goes in behind his own goal. His pass coming out to Lemaire. It's Lemaire's shot on Lafleur. Lemaire took the long shot. Rutherford knocked it away. And coming in after it, Greg Jolly. Now Jolly ahead to Nick Libet. Here's Libet driving it into the corner. Larry Robinson picks it up, goes in behind his own goal. Now it's Guy Lafleur moving out with Lemaire. Shot on the left side. Jimmy Rutherford let it go to the corner. Lafleur bumping there with Jolly. Paul Woods picks it up. They whistle the play down, and they whistle it for an icing, but the referee also had his arm up in the air. And he may be... No, I guess he's not. They're just going to bring it back in. It's an icing call. You don't see a referee throw the right arm up too much, an icing call.
Well, I believe he was probably the only one realized that the play had been made from inside the Montreal blue line, and when Lafleur raced in, he didn't play the puck. He played Libet rather than the puck. So had he touched the puck, there wouldn't have been an icing, but he played the man instead of the puck.
Bouncing out to center ice now for Greg Jolly. No score in the game. We've played a little more than 5 minutes of the first period. Now Greg Jolly at his own blue line. Dumped it ahead for Nick Libet. Here's Libet driving it into the corner. Bolduc trying to get through. Larry Robinson had him all tied up. And the play went in. Offside. No, they held it long enough. Faceoff stays deep in the Montreal zone. Super 6 Tire Centers brings you moments to remember. Who was the coach of the Detroit Red Wings when they won their last Stanley Cup in 1955? You know?
I know, yes.
Face-off will be to the left side of Ken Dryden. Puck dropped unfairly, so they'll go through it again. Jacques Lemaire in against Paul Woods. It came back toward the line. Jolly holds it into the corner now for Nick Libet. He and Engblom battle there. Woods dug it away. Back on the line for Jolly. His shot was blocked. Lafleur moving out. Here's Guy Lafleur. And he's turned around, dumped to the ice by John Hamel. And Hamel starts right back. Hamel moving into the Montreal zone. Libet's pass, though, broken up by Schutt. Now Schutt coming back into the Detroit end with a shot. It went wide. Lafleur goes along the boards. Bolduc gave him a whack. And the puck fell in along the boards a second time. Schutt got it loose, but it's Paul Woods that dumped it out. Danny Bolduc played it back into the Montreal zone, and Bolduc really fell into the ice by Larry Robinson. He's going to get a penalty. John Hamel comes after Robinson. Robinson really wound up and took Danny Bolduc heavily into the boards. He's going to get the penalty.
And he certainly deserves it. He really charged.
And John Hamel came in after him.
Bolduc took a little deflected puck right at center ice. He was onside, and Robinson really charged, got his elbow and stick up into his face.
So he'll go off for charging. A pause in the action. We'll be back in just a moment.
We'd like to compare the new Spirit from American Motors to the new Chevette. Although the Spirit costs $5 more, the Spirit's longer, and that's important for a smooth ride. The Spirit's also wider, so you get more front seat comfort. And the Spirit's covered by AMC's Buyer Protection Plan, the only full 12-month, 12,000-mile warranty in the industry. The new AMC Spirit. The difference in value is enormous. The difference in price is only $5.
Kind of tough to figure that one out. Larry Robinson really isn't that sort of a hockey player. He has only 31 minutes in penalties. Good, strong, tough defenseman.
Well, he was caught out of the play, Bruce, and I think he was a little mad at himself, probably, too.
Now Reed Larson's shot deflected all the way down the ice by Jarvis. Robinson for charging at 6:05. Detroit with their second power play chance. Still no score in the game. Andre Saint Laurent sending it out to Larson. Now Reed Larson's pass knocked away by Bob Gainey. Larson went back after it. Gainey knocked him off the puck. They take it in along the board. And it's held for a face-off, and now sticks come high. Larson just moves away from it.
This is going to be a spirited hockey game by all indicators right now. If the Canadiens feel that they can out-bump Detroit because of big Tommy Bergman out of the lineup and Willie Huber now out of the lineup, the Wings have lost two of their real big defensemen.
Here's Serge Savard with a shot. Rutherford grabs that. Drops it off for Reed Larson. Wings have the extra man for 1:25. Now Larson swings it out on the left side to Earl Thompson. Thompson moves into the Montreal zone. Checked right there by Savard, who has to be one of the best in the business when it comes to killing off penalties. Rutherford sent it out to center ice, but Lemaire played it back to Lapointe, and he bounces it into the Detroit end again. A minute remaining in the penalty. Dale McCourt. McCourt out on the right side to Polonich. Now Dennis Polonich moving it out to center ice. His pass went behind Larson. Larson turned around. Polonich takes it again. Fanned on it. Here's Lemaire picking it up with a shot, and Rutherford knocked that away, and there's going to be a penalty coming up to Detroit. Polonich will go off for hooking. And now the teams will each be playing short of men.
And that was a bad play by Dennis Polonich. He made a bad pass first. Then when it was intercepted, he got a hold of the puck again, started to make a move with it, lost possession, and was very fortunate that he was there to at least hook the player going in. He stopped him from getting that good of a shot away, but he wound up getting a penalty.
So this one comes at 7 minutes, 20 seconds.
Polonich hooks it all the way in, Jacques Lemaire, and Lemaire is the one that scored 3 goals against the Wings just a week ago in Montreal.
One of them when he missed the net by 6 feet. Came off the backboard and hit Jimmy Rutherford in the back and bounced into the net.
And Dennis Polonich hasn't scored a goal for the Wings in 18 games, but he scored last night for Pittsburgh. In Pittsburgh, he took a play out in front of the net, in front of Rogie Vachon, went to clear it in the corner. It was probably the best shot or the best goal he scored all year. He just shot it inside the post. Vachon had no chance at all on it.
He didn't dribble it in either. He fired it in. Now Terry Harper goes in behind his own goal. There are 40 seconds remaining in Robinson's penalty. John Hamel dumped it into the Montreal zone. It went through Savard, so Dryden comes out of the net to play it over on the right side for Napier. Puck held in, and just missing that was Nedomansky. Nedomansky and Savard. Puck cleared back to the Detroit line, and John Hamel is back after it. Hamel handing it off now to Harper, back to Hamel. Here's Nedomansky moving down the left side. Into the Montreal zone with McCourt. Nedomansky pulling up, dropped it right onto the stick of Napier. Napier has Savard coming up with him. He dropped the pass too far behind him. Now the penalty to Robinson is over, and Montreal has the extra man for 1:10. Nedomansky was hauled down, and nothing happened there. Here's Napier going back into the Detroit zone. It came back out center ice and dished back in offside.
And both clubs are making mistakes on drop passes and passes inside the blue line. I thought that there could have been a penalty called. They pulled Nedomansky down, but it was right in front of the referee.
15,000 referees here in the crowd that agreed with it. Now from the face-off, the Wings fire it down the ice. Dryden handles it off to the side of his own goal. 50 seconds remaining in Polonich's penalty. Lafleur ahead now to Mondu. Paul Woods knocked it away from him. Here's Woods picking it up again. Woods dropping it back out center ice. Reed Larson played it over on the left side, and Miller slashes it the length of the ice. 35 seconds left in the Detroit penalty now as Robinson. He was turned around by Paul Woods, but Lafleur hands it off to Lambert, ahead to Mondu. Mondu with a shot went over the top of the goal. Steve Shutt goes into the corner along with Miller. It came loose to Shutt. He fired the shot. The save made by Rutherford. Now here's Lafleur with a shot, and it was blocked by Perry Miller. Play goes into the corner. Shutt firing it along the boards. Lafleur trying to hold it in. He does, turning around with it. Now is Shutt again. Here's Steve Shutt. Shutt still working with it. Gave it back now to Larry Robinson. Off to Lafleur. Penalty is over now, and back on is Polonic. Now it's Andre San Laurent. Lafleur dumped Perry Miller as he was moving down the ice. Here's Mondu coming back. Pierre Mondu took a shot way wide. Puck came off the boards, out to center ice. And everything being called a moment ago, now everything is going. Here now the pass to Gainey. And Dale McCourt ran into him. Puck came back out center ice. Dale McCourt picks it up at his own blue line. His pass knocked away by Gainey. Bob Gainey played it in, but they whistled it down offside. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's special.
That looks really nice and cool.
It's special. Tastes the best special life.
Looks refreshing. I can tell you, it's got a Labatt's taste.
Yeah?
And it's a real Canadian taste.
Has it got body?
That's it. It's got body.
It's special. Tastes the best special life.
And yet it has less than 99 calories in a bottle.
It's special. Tastes the best special life.
No score in the hockey game. We have played now 10 minutes of the opening period, and it's been a good one. Montreal Canadiens and the Detroit Red Wings. Greg Jolly turned around, played it ahead to Dennis Polonic. He's checked by Pat Hughes. Here's Gainey. Gainey played it to the side of the net. Rutherford cleared it to the corner. Errol Thompson went in after it. He and Guy Lapointe will hold it to the boards. The face-off to the left of the Detroit goal. Errol Thompson still wearing that cage.
And one of the best backhand shots in hockey. It's funny, when the curved sticks come into hockey back a number of years ago, all the players seem to lose the knack of being able to shoot on their backhand, but Thompson somehow has mastered it. He is, I think, the finest backhand shot of all the players.
There's Mario Tremblay with a shot. Oh, and Rutherford knocked that away. A wicked drive. Dennis Polonic, a long pass ahead now to Greg Carroll. Carroll moving it over the line into the Montreal zone. Carroll, though, held up there by Guy Lapointe, coming back. Now this is Risebrough moving into the Detroit zone. A drop pass. Napier's shot was blocked by Harper. Now Errol Thompson in behind his own goal. Playing it out on the right wing for Polonic. Dennis Polonic's pass knocked down by Risebrough. Napier brought it back in, but Harper clears it back out center ice. 9 minutes to play in the first period. No score. Terry Harper ahead to Polonic. Dennis Polonic's pass knocked away center ice. Came back to the Detroit line for Harper. Terry Harper, a short little pass, broken up, and Napier wheels it in behind the Detroit goal. Jolly goes in after it. Greg Jolly in behind his own net. Now Jolly's pass came out center ice. Savard has it there. Off to Gainey. It came back into the Montreal zone, and Savard scooped it back out center ice for Pat Hughes. He cleared it into the Detroit end. Harper got it back out center ice again, and Hughes has it there. Now Hughes cleared it to Gainey. Gainey's pass went behind Hughes. Jarvis, the long shot, knocked away by Rutherford, taken by Nedemansky. Nedemansky's pass off Errol Thompson. They take it to the boards and hold it there. Faced off in the Detroit end. A pause in the action, no score in the game. We're back in a moment.
I own this place. But tonight, no more work. Tonight is celebration, because tomorrow I go back to Greece. You know how? Because my friends at Bank of the Commonwealth, they helped me to start this place when other banks do not. Now, I go back to Greece, and my cousins, they think I am big shot. I am not big shot, but at Bank of the Commonwealth, they treat me like a big shot.
Big shot.
Trying hardest to help. That's the Bank of the Commonwealth.
Wings of Danny LeBratton and Nedemansky on either side of Dale McCord. Here's Larry Robinson, and he's shot wide. Puck taken off the boards by Jean Hamel. He dumped it out center ice. It slides back into the Montreal end, and back after it, Savard. Now Serge Savard playing it back into the Detroit end. It goes right to Rutherford. He steers it off for Reed Larson. Larson circles. Now Larson ahead to Nedemansky. Ned hands it off to McCourt. LeBratton on the left side. Danny LeBratton going into the corner. Played it to the opposite corner. And it's taken there by Gainey, who shoots it down the ice. And this time there'll be an icing call as Hamel goes back after it. And the Canadiens have been icing the puck with some regularity. Hey, hockey fans, during this break in the action, just say, I'd rather burners. Whatever you do, don't get caught with your burners down.
Canadians are icing the puck, Bruce. They're trying for what they'd call a quick breakout of the zone. The Wings are moving everybody into their zone, and they're hoping they can trap a defenseman inside the blue line.
Well, LaFleur is back out there now with a line of Shutt and Lemaire. That's shot by Larson. Oh, and Dryden had to come up with a big move on that as Larson unleashed it. Now this is Guy Lapointe moving it back out from Montreal. Lapointe playing it into the corner. It caroms in behind the Detroit net with Rutherford in after it. Jimmy Rutherford handing it off to Hamel. Nick Libet starts Paul Woods out with a good pass. Now over on the right side, Bolduc. Danny Bolduc trying to work around Engblom. He did. He got right out in front, but Engblom went down and knocked it away. Big play by Bolduc and a good one by Engblom. Buck came back out center ice for Larson. Over on the left side to Jean Hamel. Hamel hands it back to Larson. Guy Lafleur checking well up the ice, so Larson dumped it out to the center end. Back after it there is Lapointe. Now to Engblom. Engblom's pass knocked away by Libet and picked up by Woods, right in the Detroit line. Back it comes now to Hamel. Hamel's pass gets to center ice. Steve Shutt has it there. Now Shutt wound up, sent it into the corner, off to the side of the Detroit goal, Rutherford. He left it right there, and it'll be taken by Lafleur. Rutherford moved in and knocked it away. Here now, Guy Lapointe. Lapointe with a shot, and Lafleur deflected it just wide. Wings fail to get it out. Here's Guy Lafleur with it. Lafleur in front with a shot. Rutherford grabbed that. What a save he made on that one. Woo!
There's glove action for you. He just threw that big glove up. He bobbled it a little bit, but it was going right up in the corner. Lafleur doing what he does best. He knocked the puck down right at the blue line that Danny Bolduc bobbled. He turned around, took a little zip pass there. Little dipsy-do. He's using a screen, and it's going right up in the corner. Jimmy got the glove up, bobbled it, picked it out before it went over his shoulder.
6 minutes, 20 seconds to play in the first period. No score. Face off to the right of the Detroit goal. We have Greg Carroll now between Polonich and Errol Thompson. The two centers, Risebrough and Carroll, waved out. Lambert came in, won the draw. That shot by Robinson off the side of the net. Harper was given a bump. Risebrough holds it in. It goes into the other corner. Greg Jolly handed it off now to Errol Thompson. Canadians are throwing their weight around a bit. Play came back into the Montreal zone with Robinson back after it, being chased by Polonich. Played out center ice. Errol Thompson knocked it back in, but Savard is quick to cover up. Serge Savard in behind his own goal. Now Savard out on the left side for Lambert. Center ice, Harper lost it to Risebrough. Here's Risebrough and Tremblay. Tremblay. He sent it right to the goal mouth, and Rutherford grabbed that, and he holds on. And finally the whistle sounds, and the play will stay in the Detroit end.
It's remarkable. I was just going to say it's remarkable the way they play in front of Rutherford.
You can win a $50 gift certificate in the Acme Red Wing prize drawing. Watch for tonight's winner between the first and second periods. Acme, action geared for you and me. And I agree with you, Sid. Last night the Wings are shooting it into their own net.
We've had more action here in the first 14 and a half minutes than we had probably in 60 minutes of action last night. The tenseness and the crowd, there's something about games in this building.
Now Terry Harper in behind his own goal. Harper carrying it out to center ice. Now it's taken by Savard at the Montreal line. Savard on the left side to Gainey. Tremblay giving chase to it. Rutherford played it away from him. Errol Thompson sent it ahead now to Saint Laurent. His pass to Harper. Terry Harper at center ice. Harper dumping it along the board. Dryden way out of the goal to play it away from Polonich. Savard lost it to Saint Laurent. And then it was taken away from him by Risebrough. Or make it Mondu. Gainey shooting it back into the Detroit zone. Rutherford stopping it back of the goal for Greg Jolly. Jolly into the corner for Thompson, tipped along the board. San Laurent took a swing at it, kept in by Savard. Making the check on the play was Jolly, so it'll be San Laurent in the corner again. He had trouble with it. Gainey took it away. Played it to the opposite corner. Now Canadiens checking ferociously. Here now Larry Robinson. It'll go in behind the Detroit net with Harper in after it. Terry Harper's left wing pass to Errol Thompson. Thompson from center ice slipped a long shot. Dryden no trouble with that, and Robinson will bring it right back with LaFleur ahead of him. Here's Robinson tearing over the line. Larry Robinson. He handed it off to LaFleur, who didn't seem to be expecting it. Now the Wings are 2-on-1. Dale McCord and Nedemansky. Dale McCord over the line with a shot. Dryden to save another shot by LeBratton, and Dryden came up with two great saves on McCord and then Danny LeBratton.
Well, Dale McCord made the right move. The fact that Savard backing up gave him a lot of room. He went in. Dryden come out, cut the angle off. A little play that was knocked down right in front by Larson comes out. This is a great play. There's all three, Nedemansky, LeBratton. McCourt's got a good area to score. LeBratton had the good rebound chance, but Dryden hung right tough. Even McCourt got a chance even after LeBratton had missed on the rebound.
So each of the two goaltenders have worked hard to keep this a scoreless first period, with 4 minutes and 11 seconds still to play. Jarvis goes in against Dale McCord off to the left of the Montreal goal. Puck came out in front. This is Pat Hughes, number 30, who played it out to center ice. It bounced into the Detroit zone. Miller covered up on Risebrough, and the puck sent back out center ice. Dimped right back into the Detroit end. Hughes goes in after it. Now that's Nedemansky. They've whistled the play down. The puck gloved ahead, says referee Ron Wick. Clifton Davis is the celebrity contestant trying to keep a straight face on Make Me Laugh, the most original comedy show in town, tomorrow night at 11 o'clock on TV 50. So the big line of Lemaire, LaFleur, and Steve Schutt back out for Montreal with Lapointe and Engblom. And the Wings stay with Dale McCourt at center, but Libet and Paul Woods there. McCourt did his job. He won the faceoff. Reed Larson lifts it in the air. It bounced out center ice. That's Libet who scooped it away. Engblom played it back to the Detroit line, and back after it is Larson. Reed Larson. Long pass on the left side over two lines and offside. Sid, with a great deal of sadness, just as we walked into Olympia Stadium tonight to find out that a fellow who'd been a fixture here, Jerry Weckler, who'd been a goal judge, I think, as long as you and I can remember, passed away this afternoon.
Yes. Offer our sympathy to his family. Is really a sad thing.
It really was. And all of the minor officials, everybody connected with the Detroit Red Wing Hockey Club, moved into this final game of the season with a very heavy heart. Now the play stays in the Detroit zone. Steve Schutt worked it back toward the line. Engblom held it in. And that's Reed Larson who took it away, shot it over to the opposite side, and Libet has it there. Libet played it back to Perry Miller. Here's Miller trying to work it out, didn't do it. And it was Larson that came in and covered up on LaFleur. Now Miller starts Libet over the line. Nick Libet took the shot. That went through the goal mouth into the corner, and Schutt starts LaFleur out. He was stopped at center ice. It's taken now by Lemaire, taken away by Libet, off to Danny Bolduc. Good move away from Gainey. Bolduc with a shot. Oh, and Dryden had to move sharply on that, and he sent it up into the crowd. The game remains scoreless, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Get ready for the action. Get set for the speed. Go for the fun. Wolverine Harness Racing is back at DRC. Come on, watch the world's top horses and drivers on North America's fastest mile track. It's easy to get to DRC. Just take the Jeffries Freeway to the Inkster or Middle Belt exit. The action starts at 8 p.m. every night except Sunday. Wolverine Championship Racing at DRC. Fun, you can bet on it.
Wolverine Harness Racing opens Monday post time 8 p.m.
Face-off will stay to the left side of the Montreal goal. Dennis Polonich, San Laurent, and Errol Thompson now, the forward line of the Wings with Hamel and Harper. Jarvis has Hughes on one side, Gainey on the other for Montreal, Larry Robinson and Savard. That's Savard. He was stopped at the Detroit line as San Laurent broke up his pass and heads back. Andre Saint Laurent, his pass skipped off Polonich's stick. Dryden handed it off for Larry Robinson, and Robinson on the move again. Larry Robinson's pass, and Thompson broke that up. It'll be taken by Canadiens' Jarvis. Handing it back now to Robinson. Savard dumping it into the Detroit zone. 2 minutes, 10 seconds to play in the first period. No score. Terry Harper, left wing pass. Thompson sent it to Saint Laurent, but not out. Engblom played it off to the side, rather Hughes off to the side of the Detroit goal. That's held in there by Jarvis. His centering pass knocked away by Jean Hamel. Now Saint Laurent, long pass on the right side, too far for Polonich. Savard handing it off to Robinson. Larry Robinson to Gainey. Gainey ahead now to Hughes. Pat Hughes at center ice, shooting it in behind the Detroit goal. Out on the right side to Terry Harper. That was Mondu, came chasing it after it, but the Wings get it back out center ice. Now Riseborough took it over the line. Here's Mondu. He was checked by Harper and Nedemansky, and with Nedemansky moving in offside as the puck came in behind him, and the play comes back out over the Montreal blue line with now 1 minute and 23 seconds to go. First period.
And what a period it has been. Both clubs are getting the body into one another to either blue line. And let me tell you, this Dryden has come up with a few saves. Bolduc has had 2 opportunities. Larson whistled a shot that he had to move real quick on.
And McCord and LeBratton, of course. That's Danny LeBratton moving back in. LeBratton's pass off to Dale McCord. He fired it to an open wing. And coming right back with it now, Pierre Mondu. We have 1 minute 10 to go in the first period. Now Mondu cleared it in behind the Detroit goal. Jimmy Rutherford played it to the corner for Jolly. He hands it off to Reed Larson. Off to Nedemansky. Now here is LeBratton with it. LeBratton trying to work around the point. Took the backhand shot. Oh, and it went off Dryden and hit the goalpost. Then he reaches around and grabs it. Dryden actually misplayed it and hit the goalpost behind him.
It's a little backhand play. LeBratton takes it around the outside of the defense, and he gets a little backhand flipper. It goes in between Dryden's legs, swings back, there's the puck, and it hits the goalpost on the inside of the goalpost. Dryden just fell back and made the recovery on it before it crossed the line.
Danny LeBratton has come very close on 2 occasions in this first period to getting number 20.
Oh, and I'm really hoping that he could come up with his 20th. He's had a terrific year for the Wings.
Guy Lafleur rolls it back to the Detroit blue line. Perry Miller back after it. That's Libet who played it there. Giving it back now to Reed Larson, ahead to Bolduc. Danny Bolduc lost it. Turning with it is Steve Shutt. Now Lafleur over the line. His shot blocked by Perry Miller, and Lemaire brought it back in offside. Again, between the first and second periods, we'll be talking to the general manager of Olympian, a fellow who is looking forward to the Joe Louis Arena, I know, Lincoln Cavallari. And we shall also have the award ceremonies being conducted on the ice level. Here now, Reed Larson moving out center ice, a long pass, bouncing into the Canadian zone. Dryden came out to play it away from Libet. That's Lafleur. He worked it away from Woods at center ice to Steve Shutt. 20 seconds to go in the period. Savard turns. Hands it back now to Guy Lapointe, ahead to Shutt. Here's Steve Shutt moving with it. Broken up, Paul Woods. He lost it at the line. It's Lapointe with it. 8 seconds to play in the period. Savard. Serge Savard's going to let time run out. As he took a glance at the clock, he dumped it into the Detroit end as the buzzer goes to end what has been a good, solid period of hockey. And so that's the end of the first period with a score. Detroit nothing, Montreal nothing.
Little Caesar's Pizza, tastiest in town. A winner anyways likes it all the way around. The carry-outs are good and hot, great for nighttime snacks. Or sit down at Little Caesar, just order and relax. If you want variety, there's a family in for you. If the winner, come in and see Little Caesar.
See your local TV book for a free pizza coupon.
Reach out and touch someone. Reach out, call up and just say hi.
Henry's their jet-set daughter.
People who love you, waiting for you to call up and share your day. Reach out and touch someone.
Super, see you in San Diego then.
reach out and touch someone far away. Give them a call.
Parts Plus, the sign of quality parts, competitively priced, plus the kind of service you can count on. Why do you buy from Parts Plus?
They're there when I want them with the parts I need.
Quality. With Parts Plus, I know I'm getting the best.
We've got a wide selection of hard to find parts.
We get the answers that help us do it right. Look for auto stores displaying this sign. Parts Plus, for automotive name brands you trust.
Can I offer you a Coke, sir?
No.
7-Up, some coffee?
No.
Something a little stronger.
No. I'd rather Werner's.
No matter what else you got, don't get caught with your burners down.
Wherever you're going, it's nice to know Werner's is there. Nothing can replace Werner's mysteriously refreshing taste. Absolutely nothing. Don't get caught with your Werner's down.
Well, a name that's been synonymous with Olympia Stadium over the past many seasons is Lincoln Cavallari, Vice President of the Detroit Red Wings, General Manager of Olympia, and a fellow, I guess, more active in securing a new stadium than anybody else around, unless it's the mayor of the city of Detroit, Coleman Young. Lincoln, before we talk a little bit about this hockey game and what a way if this were to be the final game played at Olympia Stadium, we've had quite a period already. Let's talk a little bit about what the future holds for the new buildings. Are you going to be ready next year?
Chris, we don't really know. We're trying to get the contractor to commit, but of course they can't with things like Teamster strikes and things that can happen in a new building. But
material shortages from time to time.
Of course. But we are really trying to look to next year in the new building, in Joe Louis Arena.
I think something of interest, Lincoln, is the fact that there is a multitude of Detroit's police here tonight. The reason being that this building has held so many fond memories for so many people through the years that there's just a possibility that somebody may want to lift a seat or something of the sort.
That's true, Bruce. We took all the pictures down. We had one picture of Hal, Lindsay, and Abel in the lobby that had 2 screws missing already, so we figured we'd better take that down before somebody took it home with them. And we did that with most of the souvenirs because, you know, we've been here 51 years, and it's been a great building for so many events, and there is nostalgia with this building. We're going to be very sorry to leave it.
Well, I don't think you're going to be any sorrier than I am. I consider, and I go in, of course, to every rink in the National Hockey League 2 times every season, and I don't really think that for hockey there is a better rink, Coliseum, arena, call it what you will, in the whole National Hockey League than there is right here in Grand River.
I agree with you, Bruce. For the sight lines, for the intimate relations you have with the building, there's nothing like it, and it's going to be a sad moment when we leave this building. Really.
How about the new building? You talk about sight lines here at Olympia. Lincoln, certainly everybody's interested if they're going to be sitting up the same number of rows that they are in Olympia Stadium. In the new building, the Joe Louis Arena, are they going to see as well?
Chris, fortunately, we were able to get into the design of the building in time to change it that the city had, and we think it's going to be one of the nicest buildings in the country. It has no post seats, and there will be very good sight lines, and we're very happy with the results from the design.
I'll probably throw you a question, Link, that you probably don't like, but I know that everybody's interested, too, the parking situation that's going to be prevalent at the new building for the first year or two anyway.
I don't think parking is going to be all that bad. We've got, of course, the Cobo Arena parking now and the basement arena, and then they're building a 3,200 parking lot right next to the arena that should be ready in around May or June of next year, and temporarily we'll have that large lot next to the river so that they have plans for the downtown, and of course parking is never really the best for any place, but we think it'll be all right.
Lincoln, you're on the receiving end of a little rebuttal from here and there, and criticism, of course, because every time prices go up for concessions, for admission, or anything else, the first name that is mentioned, naturally, is the general manager of the whole caboodle. We were in Pittsburgh last night, and Paul Martha, who is very active in everything going front office-wise in the Pittsburgh Penguins, was quick to point out that their tickets are going up a couple of dollars next season for really no new building or anything else, just, I guess, cost of living as much as anything else. The price structure at the new building is, of course, going to be somewhat higher than we have here.
Bruce, really, we're not really going up that much. We're going up, most of the prices will be about 25 cents a ticket, or 30 cents a ticket. The only difference is the fact that the city will be charging a surcharge, which will be from 70 to 75 cents for each ticket to pay for the building and pay for the construction of the new arena. but we're way below everybody. And if you think about the inflationary trend, which is 14 to 15%, our raise will be maybe 2 or 3%, which is really a token raise this year.
I think we've got just about a minute or so left. Let's talk a little bit about, I think, perhaps as good a 20 minutes of hockey as I've seen at Olympia in a good long time. We watched it right here in the first period of this game.
Listen, we've given Montreal all they wanted for that first period, and we could have scored a couple of goals, as you said, with LeBrat and a few other guys, and it's been a tremendous period of hockey. Great.
You must be gratified by the crowds that have continually showed up this season. You broke a record that was set just a year ago. This, of course, came about because there was an addition of boxes and so forth over the last few years, but a team that has had their problems this year is going to end up in last place in the Norris Division and yet breaks attendance records. It has to show you what hockey means to Detroit.
Just look at the fans tonight. Yeah. They're so enthusiastic, and this is the greatest hockey city in the country, and these fans in Detroit are wonderful. They're great.
All right, Lincoln, let me make you bookmaker out of you for just a moment or so. If you were to give me odds on the Red Wings opening next season at the new building, what would you say?
I'll throw it out and say 50-50.
Okay. Lincoln Cavallari, the general manager, vice president of the Detroit Red Wings, the general manager of Olympia Stadium, our guest. We're going to be back with more from here at Olympia after we pause now for this.
We're Fred Drendel, Lincoln Mercury. Before anything else, that means we're people who care.
At Fred Drendel, we're very fortunate because we have truly the only total car line from the real economical Capri to the luxurious Mark V and Lincoln Continental. But more important, we can sell you an automobile as inexpensively as you'll buy it anywhere.
On Oakland near Telegraph in Pontiac.
All the news about energy hits home right here. Home heating oil supplies are tight these days. The people who make Amoco heating oil are doing what they can to help keep you supplied with fuel. But meanwhile, you can help by turning down the thermostat a few degrees. If you lower it 5 degrees at night, you could use about 5% less fuel. The more heating oil you conserve now, the more there'll be to go around.
The great search for a bigger, better hot dog is over because Pesky has it. Pesky's Great American Hot Dog bursts with flavor. Flavor that actually won an independent taste test by almost 2 to 1. In regular or a new super size that really fills up the bun. So go to your supermarket and say, I won't take anything less than the Great American Hot Dog.
Great American.
Now there's a snowmobile that deep snow can't sink. Kawasaki's new Drifter, with a special chassis that bites deep as snow can get to give you trailblazing performance. Kawasaki Drifter's an awful lot of snowmobile for not an awful lot of money. Kawasaki Drifter. See it at your Kawasaki dealer.
Kawasaki, let the good times roll. Let the good times roll.
Our guest receives from Panasonic a 6-band radio, including FM, AM, and public service band. The portable unit also lets you monitor audio of your favorite television program with rich, full sound from a 4-inch speaker. Information radio from Panasonic. So we say hi again, everybody. Bruce Martin with you, along with Sid Abel, from here at Olympia Stadium with our final telecast, the final game of the Red Wings' 1978-79 season. Sid isn't here alongside me right now simply because he's made that long trek down the stairs, and he'll be on the ice level to take part in the award ceremonies that'll be coming up in just a moment or two. Well, we have talked about playoffs, which are just around the corner, getting underway next Tuesday. And unless there are some drastic changes tonight, and only a couple that could be, we shall take a look at just who's going to be playing who. Keep in mind that the 4 leading teams in each division, Chicago Blackhawks, the Boston Bruins, the New York Islanders, Montreal Canadiens, all draw byes. That means the rest of the teams play as they finish the season. So with the number of points, which means as of now, the Philadelphia Flyers will have the most points of the 8 teams remaining and will be at home to the Vancouver Canucks. Philadelphia with 93 points, and they're playing home tonight against Atlanta, against Vancouver, who have only 63 but finished in second place in that weak division, the Smythe division. The Los Angeles Kings, who played a game last night and won it handily, finished up the season with 80 points, and they'll be opening more than likely against the New York Rangers in a game at Madison Square Garden. The Rangers tonight are at home to the New York Islanders, and the Rangers lead Atlanta by just 1 point. The Atlanta Flames tonight are at Philadelphia. And so if the Rangers in Atlanta continue as they are, Toronto Maple Leafs will open their first-round series against the Atlanta Flames at Atlanta. The Toronto Maple Leafs tonight playing their game against the Bruins at Boston. That leaves the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Buffalo Sabres. Pittsburgh lost this afternoon to the Washington Capitals by a score of 5-2. So Johnny Wilson and his club, which is hurting heavily by injuries, Pittsburgh, with 85 points in their season over, will be at Buffalo. Colorado is at Buffalo tonight. Sabres really should win that one, whether they do or not. They'll end the season with at least 87 points and will be the home team to the Pittsburgh Penguins. And so that's the way the first round will go, unless, as we say, there are a couple of changes. Atlanta could catch the New York Rangers, and that's about all, really, that could happen. The New York Rangers, if they should win, Philadelphia lose, could catch up to the Philadelphia Flyers and change it around, but I really don't think it's going to happen. Next year, it's going to be a little bit different. There will be 21 teams in the National Hockey League, and the division leaders will, of course, draw buys just as they did this year. But the second place won't mean a thing because the rest of the teams, and there'll be 12 others, 16 teams into the playoffs, the rest of the teams will go just as they finish the season so far as points are concerned. So it'll be first place teams to buy, and the rest of them, no matter where they finish, the number of points they have, which really will be a little more fair in as much as we say Vancouver made the playoffs with 61 points this season, or 63, and there had to be 2-3 clubs who were well above them but won't make the playoffs. So that takes care of what's going to happen playoff-wise. We talked about our Acme Red Wing hockey drawing, and just prior to tonight's telecast, our final of the season, we picked the name of Joanne Talarchio of Utica, Michigan. I probably mispronounced it, but Joanne, you know who you are, and you call tomorrow 895-7000, and we'll tell you how to go about collecting your certificate from Acme Sporting Goods. Well, the special awards ceremonies will be taking place here in just a moment. We'll be back with that right after this.
Rough terrain ahead. Last year, we never could have made it. We had a conventional two-wheel drive wagon. Now we've got a four-wheel drive Jeep Cherokee, and anything's possible.
The road's pretty squishy up ahead.
This would have bogged down our two-wheel drive wagon. But my Cherokee's equipped with Jeep's quadric track, proving the automatic four-wheel drive with the best traction.
Hey, Dad, can we make it up there?
Billy, our Cherokee can go anywhere.
Yeah.
Maybe your next wagon should be a Jeep Cherokee.
We wrote the book on four-wheel drive.
When you own a Trans van, you have to get used to all the room inside, like the carpeted dining area with thick cushioned seats and removable table. The sleeping area has large, comfortable sofa beds covered with stylish fabrics, ample closet space, too, and the stand-up kitchen has an icebox, stainless steel sink, roomy drawers, and plenty of cupboards. The versatile Trans van from Champion. Say maybe your next car shouldn't be a car.
See the new Trans van at Lloyd Bridge Chevrolet and Tom Harris Chevrolet.
Saturday night, go downtown, see the sights, girls with pinball, broken bright lights. Wish every day was Saturday night. Coca-Cola at night when the lights are bright. Wish every day was Saturday night. Coke at light, Coca-Cola at light.
What do you get with your interest from most banks when you deposit money?
Next.
What do you get with your interest when you deposit money in Bank of the Commonwealth?
I got a piano.
I got a piano.
I got these tools. I got a watch.
At Bank of the Commonwealth, when you deposit as little as $1,000 in a 7-year, 7% time certificate, you'll not only earn big interest, but also a big bonus. Some bigger than others.
Trying hardest to help. That's the Bank of the Commonwealth.
After one period of play here at Olympia Stadium, the Red Wings and the Montreal Canadiens, each with 8 shots on goal and no scoring, and each goaltender coming up with some key saves, and we had just a heck of a well-played first period. Montreal with 2 minor penalties and the Red Wings with 1. Well, at the end of every season, the Red Wing organization, as do most of the hockey teams, they did it in Pittsburgh last night, have award ceremonies. Ceremonies awarded for point scoring, the Bruce A. Norris Trophy, the James D. Norris for goals scored, the Hockey Writers Award for the most valuable player, the DSBA plaque, that's the Detroit Sports Broadcasters, for the rookie of the season, the Stu Evans Trophy for the sportsmanlike player, the Forum Club Trophy, which is the unsung hero, of the Red Wings, the Travelers Club trophy for the player designated as the most exciting, the Labatt's trophy for the best defenseman of the Red Wings, and the three-star selection for the picking here at the home games, the players who picked up the most points being picked first, second, or third as stars of the hockey game. So the Red Wings have moved out onto the ice to accept awards or to watch their teammates accept awards. And we have one of the greatest people in the world who will be moving out to MC the whole thing. And I talk about an old-time sidekick of ours, Bud Lynch. So while Bud is turning around to welcome the rest of the dignitaries out onto the center stage, he'll be making the introductions, and I think that we shall have a sufficiently good pickup that you might understand everything that's going on. So here he is, Bud Lynch.
Good evening, hockey fans, and welcome to the 1979 Trophy Night. The Bruce A. Norris Trophy for the most points this season is presented by the Hall of Famer, Sid Abel, to number 20, Ned Amansky. The James D. Norris, the most goals in the season, presented by Assistant General Manager Jimmy Skinner, goes to number 20, Václav Nedemansky. The Detroit chapter of the NHL Writers Association Most Valuable Player Award, presented by the Writers President, the Detroit News hockey writer Vardan Kapelian, goes to number 20, Václav Nedemansky. The Detroit Sports Broadcasters Award, presented by the President Bill Humphreys, goes to the Rookie of the Year, number 7, out of uniform, Willie Huber. The Stu Evans Trophy, most sportsmanlike, presented by the past president of the Red Wing Alumni Association, Jimmy Peters. It goes to number 15, Paul Woods. The Red Wings Forum Club Award, a memorial to George Vanderrecken, to the unsung hero of the Red Wings, presented by President John Curvail. Number 5, John Hamel. The Travelers Club Trophy, presented by, tonight, the Secretary-Treasurer of the Travelers Club, Sharon Wheeler. it goes to, in the true spirit of the Wings, to number 14, Nick Libet. The Labatt's Trophy to the best defenseman, presented by an old defenseman, Jimmy Skinner, goes to number 28, Reed Larson. The three-star selection awards, the players honored in all the home games. Number 1, presented by Sid Abel, to Václav Nedemansky. And in a tie for second award for the stars of the home games, with Jimmy Skinner and Jimmy Peters making the awards to Jimmy Rutherford and Errol Thompson. Replicas of these awards will go to the individual players. Thank you for your attention.
And so the presentations, as you heard them, the Bruce A. Norris Trophy for the most points on the season, and Václav Nedemansky with 38 right up to this time wins that sort of hands down. Sid Abel presented it to him, and then Nedemansky moved right back there to take the James D. Norris Trophy for the most goals. I said points. Ned has 73. Dale McCourt has 70. In the goal department, that's where Nedemansky has his 38. Then the Hockey Writers Award, awarded by Barton Kapulian of the Detroit News, went again to Václav Nedemansky. So he was up there 3 times in a hurry. The Detroit Sports Broadcasters Association Rookie Award to Willie Huber, who was sitting out this game. He pulled up with a bad leg after the game played at Pittsburgh last night. Then we went on to the Stu Evans Trophy for sportsmanlike player. Jimmy Peters handed that to Paul Woods. The Forum Club Trophy, the unsung hero, to John Hamel, and I was glad to see John pick that up. The Travelers Club Trophy is the most exciting player to Nick Libet. The Labatt's Trophy is the best defenseman to Reed Larson, and then the overall 3-star selections, Nedemansky number 1 and Rutherford and Thompson tied for the number 2 position. Montreal Canadiens have come out now, and the Red Wings have been out, as you well know, for a while. Both teams will be at full strength as we get the second period underway. Each team had 8 shots on goal in the first period. We can look at a couple of out-of-town games. The Toronto Maple Leafs are playing at Boston tonight, and Toronto leads that hockey game by a score of 2-1. The Maple Leafs have been hurt a little bit. It was Anderson who scored for Toronto, and then Darryl Sittler an unassisted goal. Marcotte got the only goal for Boston, and that is at the end of the first period. Toronto Maple Leafs 2, and the Boston Bruins 1. The game that we, of course, are very interested in is that being played at New York's Madison Square Garden, Brian Trottier and the Islanders against the Rangers. But we've had no score in that one up to this time. Right now, the business at hand, the Detroit Red Wings and the Montreal Canadiens about to get the second period underway. No score in the game, and the first period was a dandy. Dale McCourt now with LeBratton and Nedemansky. Along the blue line, Perry Miller and Reed Larson. That's Larry Robinson handing it off to Riseborough. Now to Tremblay. Lambert, the other Montreal forward. The puck went right into the crowd. So the face-off comes back out center ice. Each team with 8 shots on goal in the first period, and it was that evenly played a period. 8 shots doesn't sound like a tremendous amount, but each goaltender had to come up with some pretty big moves. Dale McCourt skating his way over to the Detroit bench as Guy Lafleur comes on, then so too does Nick Libet and Paul Woods, along with Danny Bolduc as a checking unit. So it's Lemaire, Lafleur, and Schutt. Terry Miller hands it back now to Reed Larson, ahead to Bolduc. Danny Bolduc kicked the puck away the first time. It came back to Larson. Now Larson ahead to Woods into the Montreal zone. He was checked right there by Lafleur. Coming back, Lemaire. Schutt over the line. Now Steve Schutt tried to work it away to Lafleur, but it was knocked away by Reed Larson. Larry Robinson hands it off now to Savard. He cleared it back into the Detroit zone. In behind his own goal, Reed Larson played it. Steve Schutt had a stick on it, failed to hold it. Here's Bolduc. A long pass, and that was Savard that ended up into the air. It went in offside into the Montreal zone. It'll come back out over the Canadian blue line. We have played now 49 seconds. There is a veteran hockey player. And where's the C for the Canadiens? Serge Savard. In a manner, he reminds me a little bit, though he's a different sort of a hockey player, of Willie Huber. Huber came on this year to play the sort of hockey in which he didn't really draw a lot of rays, but he played so steadily, particularly in the latter half of the season, and Savard does much the same. Puck knocked down right in front by Lemaire. Oh, and it's tipped into the corner by Rutherford. Now Lemaire's pass over on the left side. Engblom couldn't hold it in. Then he wrapped it in way offside. They're going to take the face-off all the way back into the Montreal zone. If your ordinary new car tires have less than 300 miles, you can trade in your 4 tires on a whole new set of 4 Michelin radios. Just $200 plus tax at your Super 6 Tire Center. Face-off will be to the left side of the Montreal goal. Referee Ron Wicks has called a total of 3 minor penalties in the game. 2 to Montreal, 1 to Detroit. Andre Saint-Laurent now with Polonich on the right wing and Thompson on the left side. Miller and Larson still remain on the Detroit defense. Doug Jarvis has Hughes on one wing. And have to pick up the other one, Bob Gainey. They jam the puck in along the boards, hold it for a face-off, which will stay the rim of the circle to the right side of Ken Dryden. Now Hamel and Harper come back along the Detroit defense. There was some hitting in the first period, but it was reasonably clean, perhaps with the exception of Robinson when he picked up the charging call when he took Bolduc heavily in. Now this is Brian Engblom of Montreal. Engblom's pass broken up at the line, then went into the Detroit end offside. Gainey 2-3 feet over the blue line. Face-off comes back out over the Red Wing line. 1 minute and 21 seconds have gone by here in period number 2 with no score in the game. Jarvis in against Saint-Laurent. Puck comes back now to Guy Lapointe. Here's Lapointe clearing it along the boards in behind the Detroit net into the corner. That's Gainey clearing it to the opposite side. Harold Thompson couldn't hold it in. Now Jimmy Rutherford played it in behind his own goal. Rutherford handed it off to Saint-Laurent. He hit the back of the net with it. That's Pat Hughes, number 30. Hughes. He was checked by Hamel. And Saint-Laurent sends a pass out on the left wing for Harold Thompson. Terry Harper took a swing at Gainey. Gainey had given him a little shot, and the two of them are going to go off. And so we have a pause in the action. No score in the game, and we're back in just a moment.
Some people say luxury is more important than gas mileage, while others say gas mileage is more important than luxury.
American Motors says with the Concord DL, you can have luxury and good gas mileage, too, because Concord gets the best gas mileage of any American compact.
No gas, just directions.
And Concord is loaded with luxury extras like a Landau roof, individual reclining seats, and more at no extra cost. AMC Concord. Luxury and the best gas mileage of any American compact.
Bob Gainey and Terry Harper are off for roughing with the time of the penalties, 1 minute and 49 seconds. Sid, was the escalator working?
Yes, thank goodness.
Coming up, not down, eh? Now Larry Robinson moves in behind his own net. Each team playing short a man. Guy Lafleur, he's up front with Mondu. Wings have Libet and Woods. That's Mondu. He failed to get to the pass. Nick Libet takes it. Libet circling in behind his own goal. Out on the right side to Reed Larson. Larson center ice to Woods. Paul Woods has Libet coming up the left side. And he didn't hand the puck to him, so the play is offside. Will come out over the Montreal blue line.
Paul Woods just did a tremendous job last year in the playoffs. He does a tremendous job defensively all year long because of his skating ability. He just bothers everyone and keeps harping and getting on the player.
Now Nick Libet playing it back to his own blue line for Perry Miller. Over on the right side to Larson. Larson fired that shot from the blue line, and Dryden kicks it into the corner. LaFleur goes in after it, hands it off to Larry Robinson. Now Robinson circling in behind Kenny Dryden. Robinson starting out. Larry Robinson bringing it out to center ice with a pass to Mondu. He took the shot wide of the Detroit goal. Larson will go in behind his own net. Cleared it off to Libet. Nick Libet's pass didn't get through. Here's LaFleur. He played it behind Robinson, and Libet dumped it out to center ice. It slides back into the Montreal zone. Paul Woods giving chase to Larry Robinson. Nedemansky comes out replacing Libet. Now Woods took Robinson off the puck. Savard follows up. 35 seconds left in the penalties. Pierre Mondu clearing it into the corner. It bounced to the side of the net, and Rutherford leaves it there for Larson. Larson handing it off to Perry Miller, ahead to McCourt. Now Dale McCourt, he fired the shot from the line. Dryden handles that, hands it off to Lambert. Played along the boards. Greg Jolly goes digging in after it. Just slid it to the side of the net. Larry Robinson will take it there. 10 seconds left in the penalties. And the puck driven down the ice. They wave off the icing, so Jolly's going to have to play it, being chased by Lemaire. Nedemansky didn't go after it, but it came out center ice, and Lambert has it. The penalties are over. Harper and Gainey back on. The team's at full strength. This is Lambert moving back into the Detroit zone. Rutherford stops him. Rutherford cleared it off the board. Nedemansky picked it up. Now big Ned ahead to Dale McCourt. Now to Reed Larson. Larson fell down. Coming right back is Lemaire. Jacques Lemaire. He's got Trombley coming up. The pass over two lines. It's offside. And we shall be back with more of the action after we pause for this.
Big sign up on the face of the building, LaFleur. The puck stopped here. Just a play on words that Harry Truman used to use, I believe.
Now the play goes back into the Detroit zone. Greg Jolly going after it. Jolly dumped in the corner by Gainey. That's Gainey putting it out in front. He couldn't get it. He was knocked off stride, and Danny LeBratton's pass went off Gainey, picked up now by Jean Hamel. He cleared it on the left side for Jolly. Jolly's pass ahead to McCourt over the line with Nedemansky. Jolly the shot, and Dryden came up with a dandy save on Dale McCourt, who unloaded that one.
That was a good passing play. McCourt, again, I think, did the right thing. He had Nedemansky over on the other side. He took a little play up through the middle from Jolly. Defense backs in. If you watch, they try and block this shot, but the puck goes by the defenseman, and Dryden got it on the inside of his right pad and then covered it with his hand before Nedemansky could get to it.
Dennis Polonich now with Thompson and Saint Laurent, and Terry Harper and John Hamel back along the Detroit defense. And the Canadiens are out with Lambert, Riseborough, and Hughes. They'll make it Napier out on the other wing. Canadiens win the draw. Lambert didn't get it out. Harper held it in. In behind the goal. Dryden let it go toward the corner. It's played to Napier, who cleared it down the ice. A race for it, though, and Riseborough's trying to get there first. He outraced Hamel. And as they go in behind the net, they hold it there. And the play whistle down, face off to the left of the Detroit goal. Pesky's new great American super-sized hot dog, the one that fills the bun, at your supermarket now. We have played 5 minutes of the second period. No score in the game. Face-off will be deep in the Detroit end, and now Dale McCourt comes out to take the face-off against Riseborough. Wings without the services of Willie Huber, injured in last night's game at Pittsburgh. McCourt did the job. He won the face-off. Hamel cleared it to Saint Laurent, but he's hammered in along the boards by Lambert. Lambert comes out with the puck. Now to Tremblay, and that's Errol Thompson who came back and took it away from him. Lambert covers up with him, and the play stays still in the Detroit end. Thompson made a pretty good move there.
He certainly did, and the intenseness of both teams, they're jumping on the puck carriers. Andre St. Laurent thought he had the puck frozen along the wall, and it bounced out, and Lambert tried to make the play across to Riseborough, and Errol Thompson come back, made a fine save.
Savard takes the shot. Rutherford stops that. St. Laurent just dumps it out to center ice. Savard comes back after it. Back at his own blue line. Now his pass knocked away by Hamel. That's St. Laurent taking it back into the Montreal zone, but he's stopped by Robinson. Savard goes in behind his own goal. Serge Savard out on the left side to Robinson. A long pass on the right to Riseborough. Riseborough handed it off to Tremblay. He was given a bump by Hamel. Terry Harper swings it out on the right wing now for Polonich. Dennis Polonich's pass knocked away, and covering up again was Hamel. John Hamel ahead to Saint Laurent. Back to Hamel moving into the Canadian zone. And Savard hauled him down. And the play fired off to the left side, goes up into the crowd. Lemaire sent it in there.
And the referee is letting quite a bit go. There could have been a penalty call there. Jean Hamel made a great rush straight up through center ice. Tried to stick handle by Savard and got pulled down. But I think the biggest news right now, Bruce, is we have our first score from out of town. And the New York Rangers have a 1-0 lead over the New York Islanders in the first period.
Paul Woods now with Nick Libet and Danny Bolduc. Miller and Larson. Buck comes back to Reed Larson. He fired the shot, but that's deflected way high. Woods goes digging into the corner after it. Played it back of the goal. Bolduc goes back there with LaPointe. Bolduc kicked it away. That's Engblom who cleared it over on the left side, and Larson tried to hold it in, didn't do it. Now LaFleur's over on the right wing. He took the shot. He shot it up high off the glass and into the crowd. Play comes back out over the Detroit blue line. No, it's not. They're ruling that a Red Wing stick deflected it up there, so the play will stay to the left of the Detroit goal.
I think Jimmy Rutherford probably got just a little piece of that as it went up over the top of the net.
So again, Dale McCourt comes out to take the face-off. Lemaire, Shutt, and Lafleur, the forward line for Montreal, with LaPointe and Engblom.
And we have an update on the score back at the New York Madison Square Garden. It is now New York Rangers 1, the New York Islanders 1.
It'll be quite a hockey game, just as this is right here. Now Nick Libet dug it out of the skates and takes it in behind his own net. Off to Reed Larson and back to Libet. Libet's pass didn't get through. Here's Lafleur. He overskated the puck. It bounced back out center ice. Lafleur goes chasing in after it. Miller played it back out to Libet. Libet's pass way out in front of Woods. Canadians have it at their own blue line with Guy Lapointe. Libet stopped that. Here's Woods going after it. Paul Woods handing it back to Perry Miller. Back to Woods on the right side. It bounced to Bolduc. Danny Bolduc tried to set Libet over the line. It came back to Woods. He took it in. Bolduc goes into the corner with Guy Lapointe. Woods, a bouncing puck. They jam it in along the boards. He and Engblom hold it there. The face-off to the left of Kenny Dryden. And we have just about 7 minutes to play, or I have 7 minutes has been played here in the second period of a scoreless game.
You just can't say enough about the skating that the Wings are doing tonight. A game that the only thing they can gain out of it is the pride and the fact that they could possibly knock Montreal out of first place, and at the same time the great feeling that goes with stopping, say, a player like Lafleur from getting his fourth scoring championship. He's had 3 consecutive scoring championships, and they're trying to see if they can keep him off the board.
McCourt, Nedemansky, and LeBratton now with Hamel and Jolly for the Wings. Buck stayed right there in the circle, goes to the corner. Robinson sent it to the opposite corner. LeBratton in after it. Came back toward the line. Jolly held it in, played it to the side of the goal. Larry Robinson in after it. Now Bob Gainey, a bouncing puck. Hamel tried to hold it in, couldn't do it, and it got by Jarvis, and Jolly will take it at his own line. That's center ice again, Larry Robinson. Robinson tried to work away from Jolly, played it behind Hughes. Danny LeBratton ahead to McCourt. Now Dale McCourt deeper into his own zone, hands it off to Hamel. John Hamel coming out. McCourt was hauled down. Over the line now, Hamel. And referee Wick letting everything go. And Larry Robinson took Hamel to the ice as the puck came out in front. And I can't quite figure it out because everything was being called for a few moments in the first period.
Well, in a way, I like this type of a hockey game, Bruce. They are going to it appears though they're going to let the players decide it. I think Wick's realized now that it's an important game. John Hamel takes the play straight up through the middle. Dale McCourt got hooked from right there in center ice behind the play. Now watch Hamel go way around in the corner, and he dishes the puck out in front, but he's pulled down and head feet first into the boards by Larry Robinson. But no penalties were called in either case.
Face off to the left of the Montreal goal. Dale McCourt in against Jarvis. Puck is dropped. It came back for Netamansky. Dale McCourt dug it out. McCourt circled with it, handed it to Jarvis, though. Kept in at the line by Harper. Harper shot it in behind the goal. Jarvis is working over Dale McCourt. Here now is Robinson. His pass coming up to Napier. Over on the left side, Gainey. And going in, Jarvis. Puck went in behind the Detroit net, and that's Greg Jolly. He was tied up by Hughes, but coming out McCourt. Dale McCourt's pass to Netamansky. Bounced off his stick. Covering up was Gainey. He cleared it back out center ice, and Jolly will take it there. Greg Jolly playing it now to Harper. Terry Harper lifting it into the Canadian zone. Robinson knocked it down, fed to Gainey. Gainey clearing it out center ice again. Harper, he played it right through the skates of Dale McCourt. Savard takes it. Center ice pass. He checked there by Danny LeBratton. Here's McCourt coming back. McCourt took the shot, and Savard deflected that way up into the crowd. So no score in the hockey game. We'll be back with more after we pause now for this.
Parts Plus, the sign of quality parts, competitively priced, plus the kind of service you can count on. Valvoline isn't just for winning races, it's for anybody who wants the best protection possible for their hard-working engine. And now you can treat your car to Valvoline 10W40 all-season motor oil for just 69 cents a quart at your nearest participating Parts Plus auto store.
Look for auto stores displaying this sign, Parts Plus, for automotive name brands you trust.
From here at Olympia, our last telecast of the season, and this the last game for the Red Wings this year. Our director, Marvin Muse, assistant director, Jeff Muse, Sid Abel, along with Bruce Martin. Hoping you're enjoying the telecast. Puck dug away, sent back to the line. John Hamel with a shot. The save made by Dryden. Rebound came out, but cleared to the side. Stan Leroy goes digging in with Engblom. He knocked Engblom off the puck. Stan Leroy worked it back toward the line, but that's knocked away. Coming out, Guy Lafleur down the right side with a shot, and Hamel knocked that away. Terry Harper sent it ahead. Dennis Polonich played it out center ice. Sam Leroy to Errol Thompson. He fired a shot, and Dryden caught that one. It's played now to Guy Lapointe. Lapointe's pass broken up by Polonich. He couldn't control it. Now Jarvis. Napier over the line. He's got Mondu open. The pass came out, and Hamel came back to cover up on him. Mondu. Terry Harper's pass. Stan Leroy took a bump from Lafleur. And fanning on it was Napier. Mark Napier picked it up, dumped it back into the Detroit end, and Harper will go back after it. Terry Harper. He played it out center ice. Engblom has it there. Swinging it back to Savard. Now Serge Savard handing it back to Engblom. It came to Risebrough. Errol Thompson knocked it away from him, but here's Engblom charging into the Detroit zone. And Hamel went low and knocked it away from him. And riding along the ice, Engblom on top of the puck will hold it in. Gary Cooper gives an Oscar-winning performance as the mountain man who became World War I's greatest hero in Sergeant York. That's tomorrow's 8 o'clock movie on TV 50. Still no score in the hockey game with 9 minutes, 43 seconds to go in the second period. Now it's Paul Woods with Libet and Bolduc. Here's a quick pass out in front. The puck just rolled to the side of the net, knocked away by Jimmy Rutherford. Reed Larson swings it out on the right side for Dan Bolduc ahead to Woods. Paul Woods played it over the line. It was to an open wing. Bolduc had cut the opposite direction. They take it in, kick it along the boards. Reed Larson gets into it. It's still no whistle, and coming out with it, Larry Robinson. Now Robinson. He pulled away from Larson's check, played it back to Savard. Robinson again, tied up by Paul Woods. Then failing to get loose was Larson. Here's Mario Tremblay with a shot. Rutherford stops that. Perry Miller scoops it to the line, and it came out center ice. Woods couldn't get to it. Tremblay, he has two men over the line. Lambert, checked by Larson, and he's knocked down. And they're going both ways. Now Nick Libet failed to work it out. It's bouncing dangerously in the Detroit zone. Larson cleared it over on the right wing for Bolduc. Skipped away from him to center ice. Canadians bring it back in. Perry Miller stopped it. Miller had trouble finding it. Here now Mario Tremblay with a shot. Rutherford blocks that. Reed Larson. Larson lifts it in the air. Grabbed off by Robinson. Larry Robinson charging right back in. And offside coming in the left wide was Lemaire. And the play back out over the Detroit line. We're back with more of the red-hot action after we pause now for this.
The great search for a bigger, better hot dog is over because Pesky has it. Pesky's Great American Hot Dog bursts with flavor. Flavor that actually won an independent taste test by almost 2-1. In regular or a new super size that really fills up the bun. So go to your supermarket and say, I won't take anything less than the Great American Hot Dog.
Great American.
Face-off is out over the Detroit blue line. San Laurent, Thompson, and Polonich for the wings. And again, we have Guy Lafleur out with Schutt and Lemaire. Puck knocked away. Here's San Laurent coming back in. His pass over on the right side. Polonich gave chase to a bouncing puck, played it in behind the goal. San Laurent goes in with Lemaire. Lemaire kicks it into the back of the net. They hold it there. Face-off stays in the Montreal end to the right side of Kenny Dryden.
Bruce, I don't think you could see a better hockey game than this. Here we are at midway, a little better midway through the second period. It's been up and down. Both goaltenders have been called upon to make real tough saves. And the checking is just fierce. I mean, they are going after one another. There's no delay, but the Wings know, and I hope they realize that if they're to win this type of a hockey game, they can't let up at any time against this Montreal club because it's so explosive.
Paul Woods, Bolduc, and Libet now. Puck came back to Perry Miller, got through him. He has to hustle back with Steve Schutt coming after him. He handed it to Lafleur. Here's Lafleur, and Miller moved in, took it away from him. And back at his own blue line, Engblom. Ryan Engblom playing it off the board. It came right to Bolduc, and the puck went back in with Woods still coming out to play offside.
I don't know how many fans watching caught the action on the last face-off. Paul Woods, instead of trying to draw the puck, he took a shot on the net, and he got pretty good action out of it, and it hit Robinson up in the pants. There's a chance that if it had gone through, it may have been in.
Now Guy Lapointe handing it off to Engblom, or Brian Engblom, clearing it in behind the Detroit net. Woods goes into the corner with Lafleur and Lemaire. They jam it in along the boards there, and the whistle stops the play. Face-off stays now deep in the Detroit end. We have played about 12 and a half minutes of the second period. Still no score.
Perry Miller, about this time last year, is when he was injured, missed the playoffs late in the season. He's had a pretty good season for this Wing Hockey Club. He's had to play up as a left winger on occasions with Reed Larson over on the right side, and then still drop back and play his defensive position.
There's a quick shot by Lafleur that was blocked before it got through. Reed Larson played it to the line. It'll be kept in by Engblom. He drove it into the corner again. Miller tipped it away from Lafleur. Libet bounced it to the line. It actually hit a stick of one of the Montreal players on the bench. So they whistle the play down, and they're going to bring it back into the Detroit zone. And Libet doesn't like that as he gives an argument to the linesman Ron Finn.
And Nicky Libet appears though he's starting to regain his form after being out with a knee injury and missing quite a few games. He's been back for the last 5 or 6 games. Seems to skate better each time out.
Woods banged it back to the Montreal blue line. Here's Libet picking it up, flipping it off to the side of the Montreal goal. Jimmy Rutherford and Libet. Willie Huber was supposed to have made the trip, but because of his injury won't. Along with a couple of the others going to be on their way to Moscow. Sweden first, then Moscow. They leave tomorrow for the World Series there. This is Engblom moving it into the Detroit zone. His pass coming out to Lemaire, covering up with Woods. And Libet drove it to the side. Played in back of the net. That's Lemaire with it, putting it out in front. And it's knocked away, and 3-on-2. The Wings come back with Perry Miller. Miller carried over the line, went around the point. Paul Woods with a shot. And Dryden stopped that, and Woods went down in a heap in the corner, just now getting up. And the puck driven back into the Detroit zone. Woods goes to the Red Wing bench. He was slowed up there. Now that's LaFleur. He handed it out in front. It came back to Robinson, and his shot blocked by Bolduc. Danny Bolduc with a lot of speed down the ice. And Larry Robinson tipped it off his stick. It went along the board. Making the check on the play was Gainey. Dale McCourt took it away. And then hauled down was LeBratton. They keep watching, but no penalties, and the referee was hit on the shot by Reed Larson. Here's LaFleur going back into the Detroit zone. Gainey fired the shot wide. It came back to the line. Savard drove it along the glass. Over on the right side, Nedemansky with a rolling puck. Dumped it out to center ice. Larry Robinson. He played it behind Jarvis. Now it's Savard. Serge Savard handing it to Robinson. That's intercepted by Larson. Reed Larson. Ahead now to Nedemansky. He lost it to Lambert and took it away from him. Now Nedemansky. He played it off Dale McCourt. Turning with it again, Mondu. Mondu around Miller. He's got Lambert open, and he threw the pass behind him. They go in along the board. The puck came out in front, and Perry Miller knocks it down there. Clears it to McCourt. LeBratton on the left side. Danny LeBratton over the line with Savard. Put it out in front, and Nedemansky took the shot. And Larry Robinson got a stick in that and sent it into the crowd. No score in the game. We'll be back in just a moment.
Now on the ice, the Detroit Standard Dealers Sports Club, giving their support to Greater Detroit and our own Detroit professional team. They may not be pros on skates, but they sure are at offering you quality standard service for your car. What do you say, guys? Come on out and support the Standard Dealers and our team.
Back to the action here at Olympia Stadium. No score in the hockey game. The play right at the Detroit blue line. Here's Dennis Polonich. Polonich moving over the line, chasing into the corner with Guy Lapointe. The two of them going along the boards are going to hold it. No, they didn't hold it long enough. That's Saint Laurent. Brought it out in front with a shot. And he was jammed off the puck by Engblom. And he had a pretty good grip on Saint Laurent. The crowd didn't care for it. The play goes into the Detroit end with Lambert offside.
Andre St. Laurent come within a whisker of scoring a goal by taking the play from behind the Montreal net. He had Dryden down on his hands and knees.
Well, it becomes very apparent that referee Ron Wicks is doing what you mentioned a little while ago, Sid. He's letting them both play the hockey game.
And that makes for a good hockey game, Bruce. When, I guess, something real serious happens, he's going to have to call it, but he's letting them decide it themselves out there. And
Greg Jolly in behind his own goal. Jolly holding it there. Now starting out, the pass behind Hamel. He turned around, picked it up, and shovels it down the ice. Back after it, Guy Lapointe. Lapointe played it over the line to Riseborough. He was checked. The play stays in. Here's Lambert with a shot. Hit the side of the net with it. Lambert dug it out again. Now he played it back to Engblom. Engblom wound up with a shot. Hamel blocked it. Right back to Engblom. Now Brian Engblom. Out in front of the goal, Hamel and Lambert having quite a battle. And the puck is lifted right into the Montreal bench, and the play will stay to the left side of the Detroit goal. And John Hamel was working hard to keep Lambert out of the face-off.
Now St. Laurent, this play here, takes the puck behind the net. The Montreal got a little careless, picked the puck up, and Dryden moved over, but he didn't realize that St. Laurent still had possession. He got down to his hands and knees. Had Andre been able to come back up with a rebound, he would have been able to possibly put it up over him.
Face-off will stay to the left side of the Detroit goal. A little more than 4 minutes to play in the second period. No score in the hockey game. And Lemaire shut in LaFleur again for Montreal. Dale McCourt won the draw. Miller slides it over on the right side. Paul Woods given a bump there by Larry Robinson. The puck dug away, though, by Larson. Larson off to Libet. One man back. That's Savard. And Libet returned the pass, but Lemaire came back to take that away. And Lemaire lifts it in the air, dumps it back into the Detroit zone, and back after it, Perry Miller. Now to Larson, and ahead on the right wing to Bolduc. Danny Bolduc charging in. Larry Robinson checking him. Bolduc put it right to the goal mouth, and Dryden knocked it away. Paul Woods goes into the corner, came out with a puck. Woods working away from Lemaire, handed it off to Livett. Then Livett was checked, and Steve Shutt will take it. Shutt just cleared it out center ice, knocked back in by Perry Miller. Now here come the Canadiens with Larry Robinson. Over the line into the Detroit zone. He was checked by Larson. The two of them go into the corner. They hold it in along the boards there. Woods gets into it along with Shutt. Still no whistle. Now it sounds, and the faceoff stays in the Detroit end. An imaginative little boy witnesses a murder, but nobody will believe him except the killer. So that sets up the suspense on Bill Kennedy at the movies tomorrow at 1 o'clock on TV 50. And we have a little suspense and excitement right here at Olympia Stadium. 3 minutes and 6 seconds to go in the game. The team with the best record in the National Hockey League, the Montreal Canadiens, and the Detroit Red Wings, who have finished last in the Norris Division, but have played even Steven here in a 0-0 hockey game. Now Pierre Mondu sent it back to Engblom. In behind the Detroit net, Miller took a swipe at it, played it back to the blue line, though. There's Guy Lapointe. Oh, it just came to McCord. He turned around, picked it up again from Lafleur. Dale McCord over the line with Paul Woods. Woods goes chasing into the corner after it. Turned around there, and Canadiens Lafleur. His pass didn't come out. Larson broke it up. Now Engblom. Brian Engblom turns with it. Engblom moving it out to center ice. He hands it off on the right side to Mondu with Lafleur trailing. And Engblom was cutting in. The pass too far in front of him. Lafleur dumped it in behind the goal. Miller knocks it away. Now Reed Larson pulling away from Lafleur. A pass on the right side to Bolduc. Danny Bolduc down the right wing, trying to work around Engblom. Bolduc got out in front. Oh, and the puck went right over the top of the goal. Big play. Dryden has lost his stick. The puck came back to the line. Perry Miller, Dryden without a stick. Now here's LeBreton with a shot. That's knocked away by Lapointe. And Lafleur takes Mondu's pass. Handed it back, but that's stopped by Reed Larson. Dryden has his stick back. Here's Larson. Larson didn't pass the puck. He had McCourt charging in. Now he gives it to him, and it bounced away. McCourt back after it. Playing it back to Danny LeBreton. LeBreton out in front. Nedomansky was checked. Couldn't get a shot away. The Wings were dangerous, but didn't get the shot on. 1:45 to go. Second period, no score. Reed Larson dumping it out center ice. It bounced. LeBreton went in after it. Jarvis played it away. Now Gainey coming back for Montreal. Playing it in behind the Detroit goal. Miller goes in with Tremblay. Miller knocked it away from him. Perry Miller didn't get it out. Robinson held it in. Robinson putting it out in front, and that was knocked away by Larson. Coming right back, McCourt. Dale McCourt's left side pass. Danny LeBreton carries in. LeBreton was checked right there, and Serge Savard takes it. 1:10 to play. Now, over the line, that's Jarvis. Jarvis trying to work away from Dale McCourt. It came loose to Tremblay. Play broken up by LeBreton, who cleared it back out center ice. Now that's Lambert. Lambert put it right on the stick of Harper. Over on the right side, Nedomansky. His return pass didn't get through. Coming out with it, Lambert. Don Lambert trying to go around Harper. It came loose to Tremblay. Mario Tremblay tied up by Harper. And Danny LeBreton turns again. LeBreton is hauled. No, wasn't hauled down by Lambert. There he's on over the line. Out in front. Then he was checked by Savard. Good effort by Danny LeBreton. The puck fired back to the Detroit line, and Greg Jolly has it there. 30 seconds to go. Second period. Play back into the Montreal end, and back after it, Savard. Now Larry Robinson. Robinson moving it into the Detroit zone again. Now that's Nedomansky firing it along the boards on the left side. Errol Thompson kicks it out to center ice, tied up there by Lemaire. Lemaire working on him. The puck held along the boards. McCourt drew it loose for Harper. Terry Harper going into the Montreal zone with a shot and shot it wide. As Terry Harper had the chance, and he made the play, and the buzzer goes to end the second period. Let's just listen to this crowd. There are not many buildings in the National Hockey League that you'll hear more noise and enthusiasm than right here at Olympia in the Motor City. The end of 2 periods of play with no score in the game, and we'll be back in just a moment.
The new Trans van by Champion is shorter than this car, has more room than this van, and costs less than this station wagon. Yet this trans van sleeps up to 4 and even includes a kitchen.
Lunch is ready.
Oh, terrific.
John, presenting the traffic jam burger.
The amazing new trans van by Champion. Maybe your next car shouldn't be a car.
See the new Trans Van at Colonial Dodge and Crestwood Dodge.
Who do you turn to for new glasses fast?
DOC. I got my glasses the same day.
For contact lenses, who do you turn to?
DOC. They gave me 30 days to try my contacts, and I love their low price.
Who do you turn to when your glasses are broken?
DOC. The eyeglass breakage guarantee means our glasses are replaced or repaired free.
For DOC quality at a DOC price, who do you turn to?
DOC.
DOC. DOC.
I think we have a transmission problem here. New pilot, John!
At AMCO, we'll put you and your car back together again. We test drive your car with you in it. We examine the pan with you watching so you know the job we recommend is the right one. At AMCO, we'll put you and your car back together again.
I got you a new set of keys.
The great search for a bigger, better hot dog is over because Pesky has it. Pesky's Great American Hot Dog bursts with flavor. Flavor that actually won an independent taste test by almost 2 to 1. In regular or a new super size that really fills up the bun. So go to your supermarket and say, I won't take anything less than the Great American Hot Dog.
Great American.
And the final game of the season for the Detroit Red Wings, and you'll not see much better hockey than we've watched through the first 40 minutes. There's no score. The Red Wings had 8 shots and Montreal 5 in the second period. That's Detroit 16, the Canadiens 13, after 2 periods of play. And a fellow with a smile on his face watching this one, but I think is perhaps looking forward to next season more than anything else right now, is the general manager of the Detroit Red Wings, Ted Lindsay, who joins Sid Abel.
Ted, I'm limp sitting up here just watching this hockey game. I can imagine what you are. It's been a tremendous 40 minutes.
Well, you know, it's beautiful to see, and I certainly hope that the fellas will play another, and I know they will, another hard 20 minutes. This makes Montreal, they have to earn that first place. It also gives the New York Islanders the opportunity to maybe take over first place in Montreal, and that's what it's all about. You have to be honest with your fans, Sid.
Well, Ted, they're more than honest. Do you have to, and I don't think you do you have to go into the room before you open up with a Montreal game to talk to them? I think they're all just up in pins and needles.
I would have to think, you know, it's pretty much like when you and I played. You knew when you went against the Canadiens, you had to be up. If you weren't up, they'd blow you right out of the rink, and we have always played very well against Montreal, and again tonight, we're missing a couple of good hockey players, but that's part of hockey, too. You don't use those as excuses, but everybody on that ice is given 110%.
Ted, you and I are 2 of the oldest fellows around this organization right now, and we've got fond memories of this building. It could be that this may be the last hockey game played at the Olympia. Just what memories do you have of it?
Well, Sid, you know, you and I talking, and of course all we need is one fella to put on the other side, and you can put all those memories right into that. You know, I had the privilege and honor of playing with him for 11 years, and, you know, we had good nights, we had bad nights. We thank very much, and I'm able to say that for Gordy too, Sid, to the fact that what you did for us after you come out of service, we were 2 youngsters, a little raw and a little wet behind the ears, and you were our father image, and I don't mean to make you that old either. But,
I hope not.
You did a super job for us, and we thank you for that. But, you know, I think one of the greatest thrills I got out of this building was the year that you talked me into coming back in 64, 65. And you know, the standing ovation that I got for about 10 minutes the night we opened up against the Toronto Maple Leafs, I think what all hockey players should go through, and all it is basically they were saying thank you for the honesty, I guess, that you gave us. Because I had many bad nights in Olympia, Sid. You know, they weren't all good ones. But I always tried to work and tried to do my best. And I think this is what they were saying, and that's the message I got from it.
I don't think you had very many bad nights as I can recall, Ted. We had a lot of fun. For some reason or other, the hockey players today are different than in our day. We used to live right here around the Olympia. I know I lived over in Mawshaw's, over on Lawton, and I think you and Gordy and the boys did too.
Red, Gord, Marty, Metro Crest, there was 5 of us there. We practiced at 8:30 in the morning. You could be on the ice at 5 to, or out of bed at 5 to 8 and be on the ice at 8:30. It was a good condition. Just the fact that Mawshaw brings back a lot of memories, but the people here, and as I say, and it proves it again tonight, Sid. I've always said this is the best hockey franchise in the National Hockey League. Here we are in last place, no chance at all. This place is jammed, and we're really pleased that we're able to put it on television for all of the hockey fans that don't get a chance to come here.
Right. And you set an attendance record this year, and I'm sure that the folks viewing know the kind of weather that they had to go through to get down here tonight. It was just terrible driving coming down.
Well, this again, as I say, I thank all of the people that are here. I thank all of the people that have supported us through it's been a disappointing winter for me, Sid, but not discouraging. We've only had 7 games where we've been out of it, and where we deserved to lose. All the rest could have gone either way. We had, from the start of the year right through it, we had everything conceivably to go wrong that could possibly go wrong. So we will do our homework. We've been doing our homework all winter. We will be much stronger next year, and hopefully we will not get all the bad breaks that we had. I hope we had them all in one year.
Ted, I hope you have too. Listen, we're going to come back and pursue that. I mean, players that you have watched in the draft, where you're going to draft, and what you think of expansion. But let's pause now for this message.
How does the Bank of the Commonwealth help me? Well, I got my checking and my savings there. But more important, when I need help, they really understand me. I mean, this guy here, he's studying law, and this bum, he's into medicine. I mean, every old man wants his kid to do better than he did. So, between my back and my bank, my kid's got a future. Hey, Doc, start operating.
Trying hardest to help. That's the Bank of the Commonwealth.
My son, the judge.
I ain't going up that hill. No way.
Off-road is fun, but sometimes you run into an obstacle that only a true four-wheel drive vehicle can handle.
A Jeep CJ will give it a try.
The Jeep CJ, built rugged, tough, and tailor-made for terrain like this. It's easy to see the Jeep CJ was born and bred for four-wheeling. And there's even options like automatic transmission and a hardtop. Top that.
That was fun.
The Jeep CJ. We wrote the book on four-wheel drive.
With all the talk about energy these days, no one knows exactly what the gasoline situation will be the rest of the year. But the people at Amoco do know. There are things everyone can do to help the situation. Especially those of us who think saving gasoline is only for the other guys. Let your next tank full of Amoco gasoline be a reminder to conserve energy. A little effort by each of us can make things a lot better for all.
We're Fred Drendel, Lincoln Mercury. Before anything else, that means we're people who care.
For many people, leasing can be the most practical way to get into a new car. At Fred Drendel Lincoln Mercury, we lease all makes and models, cars and trucks, at competitive prices. So if you're interested in leasing or purchasing, come in and see me, Paul Newmoff, and we'll talk about it. I'm sure we can work out a deal that'll save you some money.
On Oakland near Telegraph in Pontiac.
Reminiscing here with Ted Lindsay, the general manager of the Red Wings. Ted, the fact that you have been busy following the amateur playoffs, the junior playoffs, and that, is this a good year for drafting?
Well, I don't know whether I'm not knowledgeable in hockey, Sid. The experts say it's a bad year, you know. And I look around, and there are a lot of good hockey players. I often wonder sometimes if the scouts say that to protect their job.
I thought that too.
But really, it is a good year. There are a lot of good ones. Of course, with the expansion, as you call it, now there are amateur players like at Birmingham and Cincinnati that will have to go through the draft. They were underage last year. That will make a difference in the draft. This will probably set some of the junior players in Canada will be picked a little later because of that. We have players that belong to World Hockey League teams. We will watch them from now to the end of the season. Said we will decide whether they can help us. If we think they can help us, depending on what their position is, then this could change our thinking in the draft also.
I was going to ask, too. Now, you have Toronto's first-round draft choice due to the Maloney Errol Thompson trade. Will you exercise that this year?
Well, we will probably know this week. We do not have a second-round draft choice this year, and that's the only draft that we don't have from now to eternity. I'm trying to make a deal to get a second-round draft, because when we use and exercise Toronto's second-round draft, then we have our first-round draft, then we have to give them a second round. And I would like to use that other first-round draft this year. As I said, with the expansion kids that are going to win the draft and the good players that I've seen in Canada, I think we could help ourselves considerably.
Ted, what basically position would you look at first? Or would you take the player because you say you think that he is a real good hockey player? Or do you have a preference as to a defenseman over a forward or anything like that?
No, because we need help in every position, Sid. And as I said, depending on what we take from the World Hockey that we have the rights to, we need help in defense. We need help at center ice. Of course, Brent Peterson will be back next year. This will make a considerable difference at center ice. We need help on the right side. What we really need, if you could give me two forwards, preferably right wingers that are of the Terry O'Reilly type, not gifted hockey players, but workers and diggers that will pay the price, I would take them tonight.
I don't know why you would mention Terry O'Reilly. He's probably the toughest kid out there with Boston.
Well, I think this is what we're looking for. You know, as people understand now, and this is what you have to do to put a team together, Sid, because I was a physical hockey player, I don't believe in goons. I believe in the beautiful thing of the game is the skating, the pucking, the puck control, playmaking, shooting. And this is what we have the speed now. Now we have to get a few guys that like to pay the price to take an elbow or what have you in the corners to get possession of that puck.
Ted, one final question. What were your thoughts on the fact that they allowed the 4 clubs in from World Hockey on the expansion?
I've always been very anti-World Hockey, but I never thought they'd get off the ground, Sid. I feel very strongly that they would be around for another 7 years. We will have maybe a couple of tough years where the hockey, like I don't believe in the 16 teams in the playoffs. I don't believe in this 2-2 situation. I think that will change. But it's going to be a great thing for hockey. It's going to be good for the fans, and this is who we have to be concerned about. We will not have to worry about losing our draft choices.
Ted, I'm sure you'll do a tremendous job. Good luck to you, and you're looking at kids and come up with some good ones for us. And if we have to be down in that new building, we'll go down there and show them the way hockey's supposed to be played.
Sid, I just want to again thank all of our fans for the tremendous support to myself, to Bobby, and the club this year. I want to apologize to both you and Bruce for making your job so difficult this winter.
No, you didn't do that. Now let's go back to Bruce Martin.
Okay, General Manager Ted Lindsay of the Detroit Red Wings, as we say, looking forward to a season just a few months away. Many of our guests receive a $100 gift certificate from Cousins Clothiers, where fit has been foremost for over 50 years. After 2 periods of good, solid hockey here at Olympia Stadium, the score, the Detroit Red Wings 0, the Montreal Canadiens 0. We'll be ready for the start of the 3rd period in just a moment.
When you own a trans van, you have to get used to all the room inside, like the carpeted dining area with thick cushioned seats and removable table. The sleeping area has large, comfortable sofa beds covered with stylish fabrics. Ample closet space, too, and the stand-up kitchen has an icebox, stainless steel sink, roomy drawers, and plenty of cupboards. The versatile trans van from Champion. Say maybe your next car shouldn't be a car.
See the new trans van at H&W Motor Homes and Mr. Motor Homes.
You've got to keep it up if you want to be happy. Keep it up. Stepping, snapping, moving your feet to the beat of a brand new day. What do you say? Hey, you gotta keep it up. Jogging in the sunshine, running through the park, having a fun time, drinking a Coke. Comes Coke and Life to these thirsty feet of mine. Keep it up now, Coke and Life. Coca-Cola and Life.
New York, where you would save hundreds of dollars if you could buy diamonds direct from the cutters. Well, now you can. Buy direct from the New York Diamond Cutting Company, the Diamond Cutters, and save up to 60% on your diamond
Now a 1.16 pear-shaped diamond is just $625. Save at the New York Diamond Cutting Company. Call today.
Call our Southfield sales office now for your appointment. 1 hour of your time could save you hundreds of dollars.
Parts Plus, the sign of quality parts, competitively priced, plus the kind of service you can count on. Protect your car from rain, sun, snow, detergent, and road grime with Turtle Extra Liquid for the hardest wax job ever from Turtle Wax. Now just $3.79 for a 16-ounce bottle at your nearest participating Parts Plus auto store. Look for auto stores displaying this sign. Parts Plus, for automotive name brands you trust.
No score in the hockey game with a period still to be played, and now the Red Wings make their appearance. Back out onto the ice. Canadiens have been out for quite some time. Seconds of the third period. Dale McCourt, Ned Amansky, and Dan LeBratton now for Detroit. Bob Gainey on one wing. Mario Tremblay on the other, with Jarvis at center ice for Canadiens. Lapointe and Engblom. On the face-off, puck taken by Lapointe. Guy Lapointe of Montreal, clearing it all the way down the ice. The icing waved off, and Jimmy Rutherford laid it in behind his own goal. John Hamel worked it away from Gainey. The puck came out in front. Hamel dumped it out center ice for Danny LeBratton. McCourt on the move. He handed it right to the blue line, though, and Jarvis knocked that away. Coming out with it, Engblom. Ryan Engblom takes it over the line into the Detroit zone, and Harper moved in, took it away from him. Harper didn't get it out. Mario Tremblay holding it in. Dumped it into the corner. Harper will go in after it, being chased by Lambert. Terry Harper cleared it on the right side. Nedemansky couldn't get to it. It came out center ice. Mondu handing it off there to Savard. Serge Savard turning it center ice, clearing it back in. Rutherford stops it to the side of the goal. Jimmy Rutherford on the left wing to LeBratton. LeBratton's pass went off Dale McCord. Here's Mondu with it. He took it right to the goal with that shot, and Jimmy Rutherford holds on to it. So, no score in the game. A pause in the action, and we're back in a moment.
I'm accustomed to riding around in Cadillac. So why am I in this AMC Pacer wagon instead of a Cadillac? Well, this Pacer is not only quite luxurious and handles so easily, but it also has an astounding amount of room. Did you know that the AMC Pacer is just about as wide as a Cadillac? So it feels like a big car, even though it isn't. And I feel like I'm in a big car, even though I'm not.
AMC Pacer feels like a big car, but it isn't.
Dale McCord in against Risebrough. Circle off to the left of the Detroit net. McCourt wins the draw. Jolly circling in behind Jimmy Rutherford. Now Jolly hands it off to Jean Hamel. He was turned around by Lambert. Here's Lambert putting it out in front of loose puck. The shot right on, and Rutherford stops that. It's held in by Larry Robinson. Now Savard. He was checked. It came to center ice. Here's Polonich and Thompson over the line. Polonich with a shot. And Robinson went low and blocked it, but they had whistled it down on the offside.
And this is all it's going to take, a miscue by a player on either team. John Hamel handled the puck, and then he went to make a play, and he didn't get it out. And it just about cost the Wings goal. John fell then. He got knocked down. The pass come out. Jimmy Rutherford made the save.
Now Canadians clear it out center ice to Risebrough. He was checked by Jolly. Dennis Polonich on the blue line. Fired it in behind the net, going into the corner, Savard and Sam Leroy. Mondu checked, but it came to Risebrough. Out at center ice, Lambert driving it into the corner in the Detroit end. Jolly back after it, being chased by Risebrough. It's kept in by Lambert, then knocked away by Jolly. Here now, Dennis Polonich. A long pass on the left side. Errol Thompson takes it over the line. Here's the chance for Jolly with a shot right on. What a save by Dryden. Now the puck fired down the ice. There'll be an icing call as Harper's back on it, and Greg Jolly came within a whisker. We'll be back in a moment.
It's special.
That looks really nice and cool.
It's special. It's the best special.
Looks refreshing. I can tell you, it's got a Labatt's taste.
Yeah.
And it's a real Canadian taste.
Has it got body?
That's it. It's got body.
It's special. Tastes the best special.
And yet it has less than 99 calories in a bottle.
Taste of that special life.
The Wings had a 3-on-2 break, and Errol Thompson took a long pass, moved it across over to Greg Jolly, and it got into his skates a little bit. Dryden come down. He just got a little wee piece of it to make it go wide by the open corner of the net, where the Wings would have got on the board first.
Now LaFleur, Lemaire, and Schutt for Montreal. Woods, Bolduc, and Libet. And LaFleur, a couple times, has skated into the circle too quickly, and now they're going to wave the two centermen out. So LaFleur will face Nick Libet. We have played 3 minutes and 46 seconds of the third period. A scoreless hockey game. Paul Woods. He wrapped it toward the corner. Puck knocked down by Perry Miller with a shot, and Dryden handles that. Played along the boards on the left side. Schutt starts Lemaire out. Lemaire's pass deflected off Libet up into the crowd. Play will stay at center ice. Super 6 Tire Center brings you moments to remember. Who was the coach of the Detroit Red Wings when they won their last Stanley Cup in 1955? Sid, you were there.
It had to be a fellow that was on the ice and making some awards. Jimmy Skinner, now the assistant to the Red Wings general manager, Ted Lindsay.
Here now, Danny Bolduc carrying back in. Drove it in behind the Montreal goal. Engblom goes in after it. His pass broken up by Woods, then picked up by Schutt, and Libet came back to take it away. Digging back into his own zone, Reed Larson. Now Larson is passed out to Woods, over on the left side for Perry Miller. Miller brings it out to center ice. Right side pass to Bolduc. Danny Bolduc drops it for Larson with a shot. That was blocked, and now Canadians start back. 3-man rush. Here's Schutt. LaFleur on the right side. The pass to LaFleur. LaFleur dumped it in behind the goal, and Libet takes it there. Now Nick Libet ahead too far for Paul Woods. LaPointe drove it back to LaFleur. LaFleur a pass to Schutt. Steve Schutt over the line. Schutt picked the shot. He actually tried to pass it to Lemaire, but it was away from him. Nick Libet's pass didn't come out. It's kept in, and the Canadians can't control it there. Harper hit the referee with it. Paul Woods bounced it back into the Montreal zone. It went right to Dryden. Now Savard turns out for Canadians. Serge Savard from center ice with a shot that Rutherford handles. Playing it off now to LeBratton. A good pass ahead to Nedemansky. He didn't handle it, though. Goes back after it. Now Big Ned played it to the Montreal line, and Savard will take it there. Serge Savard. His pass broken up by LeBratton. They whistle it down offside. And we've played now 5.5 minutes of the third period, and still no score in the game.
All right, Bruce, in 45 minutes of play, and we've had some great hockey games here this year, even though the Wings are going to finish in the basement, but I can't recall where we've had a better 45 minutes of play than we have tonight.
It's been sustained. No time as it slowed up.
And it means so much to this Montreal Hockey Club, and the Wings are just matching them stride for stride so far, but they'll have to continue to do it.
Now this is Larry Robinson moving it out to center ice. Puck driven into the Detroit zone. Gainey goes in after it. He played it to the opposite side. Gainey was given a bump by Nedemansky, and the Wings clear it out center ice. Savard sent it back in offside. The play will come back out over the Detroit blue line. Our guest receives a gift certificate for a pair of Clark shoes or boots from Sherman Shoe Stores in Birmingham, Somerset Mall, Fairlane, and Lakeside Centers, and 12 Oaks, Novi. Well, that's it. 14 minutes, 14 seconds still to play. John Hamel playing it back now to Greg Jolly. Hamel didn't get it out the first time, goes back after it. Pulling away from Gainey's check, Hamel brought it out to center ice. He was dumped there. And picking it up, Dale McCourt. Now McCourt to Danny LeBratton, moving into the Montreal zone. Overskated it, and Trombley starts back. He was hooked a bit by McCourt. The Wings take it back in their own zone. Greg Jolly handing it off now to Jean Hamel. Hamel bounced it out center ice. Mondu played it back to Savard. Serge Savard lost it. Here's Jolly. Greg Jolly back into the Canadian zone. Just dumped it into the corner. Dryden in behind his own goal. Played it away from McCourt. Now the Canadians move out. At center ice, Jolly got a stick on it. It'll be taken by McCourt. Dale McCourt. Charging over the Montreal line. He didn't get through. Pierre Mondu played it off the glass, and it'll be taken by Harper. Terry Harper of the Wings shooting it back in behind the Montreal goal. And Larry Robinson has it there for Canadians. Now Serge Savard moving out from Montreal. Savard just missed the linesman with it. There'll be an icing call as Harper touches it. And the play back into the Montreal end. No score. We're back in just a moment.
Little Caesar's Pizza. Nobody loves it like a kid on 2 weeks. Nobody loves it like Little Caesar's Pizza. Nobody loves it like my favorite treat. Nobody loves it like a kid, like a kid. Little Caesar's Pizza.
See your local TV book for a free pizza coupon.
Boy, a great crowd on hand for this one. Close to 16,000 fans. And as Sid mentioned, terrible weather, but it didn't bother anybody. 15,711. And they have watched quite a hockey game. Play goes in behind the Canadian goal. Engblom played it along the glass. It ended up in the crowd. Face-off stays in the Montreal zone off to the left of Ken Dryden. First period, each team had 8 shots in goal. Canadians had 2 minor penalties, and Detroit won. In the second period, the Wings outshot Montreal 8-5. Gainey and Harper served penalties together. Neither team had a power play opportunity. There hasn't been a penalty called since a minute 49 of the second period when Gainey and Harper went off. Andre Saint Laurent skates over to the Detroit bench for a new stick. A look at the drug connection with a former cocaine smuggler and a lively debate on legalizing marijuana on the Joe O'Terry Show tonight at 10 o'clock on TV 50. Saint Laurent, Thompson, and Dennis Polonich for the Wings now. Canadians, Jarvis goes in against Saint Laurent. Now this is Guy Lapointe. He fell down in the corner, checked there by Saint Laurent. The two of them on top of the puck. Play stays still in the Montreal zone.
And the Wings are playing this enthused battle all night long without the services of Willie Huber and Tommy Bertman, 2 of the regulars of the season, and Billy Hogebaum out with a broken wrist. So I was just looking. They have only 16 players dressed, counting the 2 goaltenders. They're playing shorthanded and putting up a terrific battle.
Couldn't bring anybody in because their farm team, Kansas City, in the midst of their playoff. Now here's a pass coming out to Jarvis. Jarvis cleared it out on the right side. Trombley goes back after it. Hands it off to Engblom, ahead to Lemaire. Lemaire shooting it deep into the Detroit zone, and Hamel goes in after it. In behind his own net. Out on the right side, Dennis Polonich stopped there. Here's Lambert with it. Yvonne Lambert took a bump but still controls it. Being checked by Hamel. Puck went in behind the Detroit goal. Harper goes digging in along with Lapointe. Saint Laurent picked it up. Saint Laurent scooping at the opposite corner now, and Dennis Polonich has it. Polonich starting out. Dennis Polonich hands it off to Saint Laurent. He overskated it. Hamel comes back and gives it now to Harper. Harper's pass went right to Lafleur, and then Harper fell down. Here's Lafleur going in, and he's stopped by Rutherford. Jimmy Rutherford stopped him cold. And then Steve Janacek. There's a shot by Lemaire, wide of the goal. Jimmy Rutherford came out and made the play on Lafleur. The puck ends up in the crowd, and the crowd is up on his feet cheering Rutherford.
And Jimmy Rutherford has stoned Lafleur. The last 2 or 3 games the Wings have played them on breakaways just similar to this. Of all the times for Terry Harper to fall, Harper makes a little pass that's intercepted by Lafleur, and Terry Harper falls, and Lafleur's in the clear. I think you have to give a lot of credit. It was either Errol Thompson. I think Errol Thompson come back and gave him a little bit of a hook just as he went to shoot the puck.
He got a good shot away, though. Face-off will stay in the circle to the left of the Detroit goal. Now, Guy Lafleur has to be talking to himself. He'll never get a better opportunity. Lemaire shut and Lafleur still. Puck came back to Perry Miller. Now Miller handed it in the corner to Reed Larson. He picks it up and dumps it out to center ice. Savard has it there. Played it back to Larry Robinson. Now Lemaire. Jacques Lemaire played it to the Detroit line. Larson has it there. Reed Larson cleared it into the corner. It's played in behind the net. Along the left side now, that's Paul Woods. Woods played it in behind the goal. That was Nick Libet going in after it. He was checked. It came off the shot. Here's LaFleur one-on-one with Miller. LaFleur tried to go by him, and he says picked up, finally knocked down, and the wings start back. Now Reed Larson. Larson played it into the corner off the side of the net. Libet goes digging in with Robinson. Bolduc went in after it. And Lemaire finally picks it up. Referee Wick letting things go pretty much on both sides. Now Bolduc trying to work away from Lemaire. Here's Bolduc going in with a shot, and Dryden stopped him with a big save. Lemaire slashes it off the linesman to center ice. Larson checked there by LaFleur. Now Steve Shutt with it. LaFleur heads for the bench. He's got to be a little tired as Pat Hughes moves to the Detroit blue line. Checked there. Dale McCourt starts LeBratton in. Danny LeBratton trying to work around Savard. He fired it right through the goal crease. And the Canadiens' Gainey has it. Talk about a hockey game. At center ice, Greg Jolly back now at his own blue line. That's Reed Larson handing it back to Jolly. We near the midpoint of the third period with no score. Now Danny LeBratton trying to work around Savard. In behind the goal. He overskated it. McCourt goes in after it. He's checked there by Savard. Puck along the boards and going after it is Hughes. He scoops it out to center ice. Go, Wings, go. The crowd yelling. The puck bounced back into the Montreal end. Guy Lapointe shot it back out, and Greg Jolly hands it off to Harper. Hughes went for a spill. Now Gainey shoots it back into the Detroit end, and Nedemansky has it. He starts Jolly out. Here's Greg Jolly down the boards on the left side into the Montreal zone, and he stopped there as Engblom turns back. 3 of the Canadians. Here's Engblom over the line, trying to go through. He was checked, and it was tipped away from Gainey. Now McCourt. Dale McCourt heading back out center ice. He played it ahead to LeBratton. Into the Montreal zone, LeBratton and Nedemansky. Nedemansky with a shot, and Dryden came out and deflected that up into the crowd. Oh, we've got some action here. We'll be back with more of it in just a moment.
Isn't it incredible how your tableware seems to disappear? No matter how often you replace it, there's never enough to match or go around. Now at Bank of the Commonwealth, when you put money into your savings, you can put Oneida Stainless on your table. So you collect Oneida, and your money collects interest, trying hardest to help. That's the Bank of the Commonwealth.
Deposit this at the bank, Beecham. We'll need another place setting for the ambassador.
Yes, madam.
I'll tell you something. This crowd making noise. Canadians clear it now to their own line, bringing it out to center ice. Risebrough over on the right side to Tremblay. Tremblay's pass knocked away by Jean Hamel. He scooped it out on the right side. Polonich checked there by Risebrough. They hold it to the boards, and no whistle yet. Finally, it is stopped, and the face-off will stay. The rim of the circle out to the right of the Detroit net, and we have 9 minutes, 2 seconds to play in the third period. Sanford & Sons Junkyard becomes just the Sanford Junkyard when Lamont takes a job with the competition on Sanford & Son tomorrow night, 7 o'clock on TV 50. Boy, you talk about an enthusiastic crowd. You'd think it was Stanley Cup playoff right here, Sid.
And it's as good a game as you would see in any Stanley Cup game. This has just been a tremendous effort by both teams all night long.
Dale McCourt brought it out center ice. Here's Errol Thompson to Saint Laurent. They stopped it on the offside. Very close. Five minor penalties in the hockey game. That's all thus far. 3 of them to Montreal, 2 to Detroit. No scoring. Closely played game. Bobby Crom looks on from behind the Detroit bench. Now Saint Laurent in against Risebrough. Saint Laurent over the line. He dumped it into the corner, goes in after it with Savard. In behind the net, Saint Laurent battles for it. Savard tipped it away. Now the Canadiens' Risebrough moves out. It got by Hamel, and Errol Thompson comes in and played it back out center ice. Serge Savard again. And Tremblay fired it along the boards, going in Lambert. He shot it the opposite direction. Tremblay goes in with Errol Thompson, and they hold that puck to the boards with the skates, and the play will stay in the Detroit end to the left of Rutherford. And here comes LaFleur, Lemaire, and Shutt again.
And Bobby Crom counters with Woods, Libet, and Bolduc. Oh, McCourt can take the face-off, and then McCourt, if they can get the puck out of the zone, he'll come off the ice, and Bolduc will come on.
Scotty Bowman looking on. He's got to wonder where this Detroit Red Wing Hockey Club was through the first part of the season, because the last 4 games they've played, Wings have won one, tied one, and could have won the other, except for those 3 quick goals in Montreal a week ago. Puck went right out in front of the Detroit goal, going after it Larson, and he shoots it down the ice. There'll be an icing call as Savard is back after it, and the play will come right back into the Detroit end with 8 minutes and 16 seconds to play.
And that's one of the first occasions where the Wings have iced the puck. And it was a case where Larson actually shot it at a player, and Lafleur made a motion to touch it, then went all the way down and was called back. Very important face-offs. Lemaire against McCourt. Off to the right of Jimmy Rutherford.
Lemaire, I would think, will attempt to draw it back to Robinson, but McCourt won the draw. He got tangled up in the linesman's skate. Goes to the corner. McCourt going in after it. Now Dale McCourt played it back of the net for Reed Larson. Larson along the boards on the right side. Paul Woods had a stick on it and it got it out to center ice. Larry Robinson will turn it right back in with Lafleur. Here's Lafleur with a shot. Oh, and Rutherford came out, cut the angle, and stopped him. And the Wings got it out to center ice. And Lafleur was open that time, and Rutherford came through with a big save. Now, puck bouncing around in the center ice zone again. Steve Shutt has it. Played it off to Guy Lafleur. He fired it into the corner in the Detroit end. Reed Larson being chased by Lemaire. Now Larson's pass, center ice, and taken there by Robinson. Larry Robinson played it to the line. Lafleur checked there by Reed Larson. Steve Shutt run into by Bolduc. They hold the puck. Lafleur got it loose. Played it back into the Detroit end, and going after it, Paul Woods. Out on the left side for Libet. Nick Libet, a bouncing puck. It's kept in. Now here's a chance for Gainey with a shot, and he hit the side of the net. Paul Woods. Woods played it off the glass. It comes out to center ice, and the Canadiens now putting the pressure on. Larry Robinson ahead to Gainey. Took a long shot that Rutherford clears away. Puck will be kept in by Lapointe. Now Guy Lapointe with a shot. Rutherford stops that. Played it in off to the side of the net for Larson. Larson handed it off to Woods. Woods played it off the glass. It bounces into the Canadian end, and the Wings are getting a player change. Something they sadly wanted. Now Engblom coming back. Played it on the left side. Gainey moves in. Gainey with a shot. Rutherford knocks that away. John Amell took a heavy check along the head from Gainey, who lost his stick on it. Play goes in behind the Detroit net. Rutherford over on the left side. Puck all the way to center ice, and Guy Lapointe has it there. Now Lapointe's pass off to Gainey, and he's bowled over by Hamel, and everything's going now. Here's Guy Lapointe shooting it back into the Detroit end. 6 minutes, 15 seconds to play. No score in the game. Greg Jolly to Dale McCourt. Now back it comes to Jolly. Jolly's pass bounced back to the Montreal line, got away from Lapointe, and goes deep into the Canadian end. We have 6 minutes to play in the game. And Guy Lapointe is in behind his own goal. Out on the right side to Jarvis. Now Doug Jarvis. It's played back into the Detroit end. Popped it in behind the goal, played it away, but it'll be kept in by Engblom with a shot that Rutherford cleared off the glass. Danny LeBratton picks it up. Checked heavily by Tremblay. Puck was too far out in front of Lambert. Back after it, Greg Jolly. Now Jolly's pass, tipped out center ice. Here's LeBratton picking it up. Went by one man. LeBratton going in, and the save made by Dryden. A centering pass. LeCourt scores! Oh, LeCourt scores!
Say with this crowd roaring and standing up and just screaming, Danny LeBratton just makes an unbelievable play. He was beaten by Dryden. He picked up his own rebound, threw it out in front. McCourt just got a little piece of it with his stick and his leg, with Dryden out of the net. A beautiful effort by Danny LeBratton to make this goal possible. Dale McCourt put it in. And with 5 minutes and 26 seconds, the Wings take a lead in a game that the Canadiens may have to win.
I'll tell you, this is something.
I think there was more noise, Bruce, when this goal was scored than going back in my day on a Stanley Cup final where we won the Stanley Cup.
Big streamer coming down by Superfan up there.
We have a little letter or a little note on Superfan, too. His picture was admitted to the National Football Hall of Fame. He's a real Red Wing fan, Jim Andrus.
14:34, the time of the goal. McCourt from LeBratton and somebody else. Going to have to check the other assist on it, Sid.
Well, Danny LeBratton took the play up a pass in center ice. Now, it had to be.
They are still taking a little of the debris off the ice.
Replay there. LeBratton takes a shot. I still didn't see who made the original pass, but what a play LeBratton made after taking the shot.
Puck actually went in off McCourt's skate, but
yeah,
it
was
not directed in.
Greg Jolly was the other. He was the original passer, I guess, out of his own zone.
Now back to the action. The play in the Detroit zone. Reed Larson giving chase, bringing it out to center ice. Larson's pass to Libet was just too far for him. Dryden came out to knock it away. In behind his own goal, Serge Savard. Savard played it out to center ice. Larson has it there. Handed it back to Miller. Now ahead to Paul Woods, the left side to Libet. Libet shot blocked. Now that's Woods going after it, trying to work it to Bolduc. He was knocked down. This is Steve Schutt. Schutt taken off the puck by Bolduc. Larry Robinson goes in after it. 4 minutes, 45 seconds to play in the game as Robinson starts out. Now Robinson on the move, over the line, into the Detroit zone. He was stopped by Perry Miller. Miller took him to the ice. And the wings shoot it down the ice. Here's Bolduc in a race with Savard. Savard put it right on the stick of Bolduc. That was Saint Laurent making the first move. And it's Steve Schutt who starts Lafleur out. Here's Lafleur over the line into the Detroit zone. He was stopped by Errol Thompson. Now Reed Larson. Larson turning with it. Larson played it over the line, played it off to the side of the net. Polonich goes digging in after it. He was checked there by Guy Lapointe. 1-0 Detroit with now 4 minutes to play in the hockey game. Down the right side, that's Napier. Mark Napier into the Detroit zone, trying to work around Jolly. And the play broken up by Harper with Jolly's help. Now moving out will be the wing, Saint Laurent. Andre Saint Laurent goes to center ice, fires it in behind the Montreal goal. Dryden stopped it there. Brian Engblom playing it into the corner. And Guy Lapointe will take it, hands it back to Engblom. Here now, Brian Engblom taking it out to center ice. McCourt stopped him. McCourt got back over the line. That's as far as he got. Guy Lapointe right back into the Detroit zone. He was checked there, and the puck went in offside. They'll come out over the Detroit line for the faceoff. And we'll be back for the final 3 minutes, 26 seconds in a moment.
Abdul, quickly! Oh, please. Here, water, please. I'd rather burners. Burners?
No matter what else you got, don't get caught with your burners down.
When thirst threatens to get the best of you, nothing can replace Ferner's mysteriously refreshing taste.
Don't get caught with your burners down, old boy.
3 minutes, 26 seconds to play. Dale McCourt won the face-off from Riseborough. Now Harper. Harper ahead to Netamansky. He slides it into the Montreal zone. It was taken by Lambert. He was checked. Engblom cleared it ahead to Lambert again. McCourt ran into him, and Netamansky has it. Netamansky checked by Riseborough. Riseborough fell down. Netamansky comes up with the puck. Playing it over on the left side to Jolly. Now Jolly ahead to McCourt. McCourt's pass didn't get through. He comes back after it. 3 minutes to play. 1-0 Detroit. Terry Harper. Harper was checked there by Riseborough. Netamansky takes it. Now that's Greg Jolly. Jolly ahead to Danny LeBratton, moving into the Montreal zone. He was checked, and Engblom turns back for Canadiens. Brian Engblom put it right on the stick of McCourt, and here's LeBratton. Danny LeBratton's pass to Netamansky, and he went in with McCourt offside. And the play comes back out over the Montreal line with now 2 minutes and 36 seconds to go. We're back in a moment.
Will the owner of the AMC Concorde please move it?
Concorde?
Why is American Motors Concorde such a success? Value. Because the AMC Concorde DL is a compact that comes with its luxury extras at no extra charge. Luxuries like a Landau roof, crushed velour seats, digital clock, and a smooth, quiet ride. 1979 AMC Concorde, the new American success story.
See all the new AMC cars for $79 at your Metro Detroit AMC dealers.
Here we go with Lemaire, Lafleur, and Schutt. Robinson and Savard for Montreal. Savard dumped it into the Detroit zone, and LaFleur goes ripping in after it. A rolling puck. He and Larson take it to the boards and hold it. Face-off stays to the left of the Detroit net with now 2 minutes and 24 seconds to play. McCourt comes out to take the face-off.
And Montreal are moving one of their defensemen in deep. They're putting 4 men in and leaving big Larry Robinson back as their anchor to hope that if the Wings don't break out, they can keep the possession in deep.
We've had no further word out of New York. Last we heard, that game tied at 1-1. Now that's Savard turning in the Detroit zone. Serge Savard put it out in front. It's loose there in front. Libet got a stick on it, drove it into the corner. Shutt tried to play it to the line. Libet picked it up, but not out. Robinson checked by Paul Woods. Puck held in, off Reed Larson. Larson didn't get it out. Here's LaFleur, a centering pass, and it bounced to the line. A shot by Lemaire, knocked away out in front. And McCourt didn't get it out again. Robinson holds it in. It goes to the corner. Reed Larson has it. Larson takes it to the board, kicking away at it. Played it ahead, and it's picked up by Dale McCourt, who slides it down the ice. It rolls. There'll be an icing call. As Savard is back after it, they come right back into the Detroit end with 1 minute and 43 seconds to go.
And talk about tension in this building and pressure on the players. The Wings are doing everything they can to get the puck out of the zone with Montreal, with all their sharpshooters out there, everyone moving in deep.
They're not exactly leaving the buildings. Nobody's beating the traffic.
There hasn't been a soul. Regardless what the weather is outside, they're going to stay and see the end of this. And what a tribute, Bruce, to the hockey club, to every member of every player out on that ice. A game that means nothing to them other than pride, and they have just battled this Montreal hockey club tooth and nail and have a 1-0 lead with 1 minute and 42 seconds to go.
Guy Lapointe with a shot. It's loose out in front. Rutherford takes it in behind his own goal, sweeps it to the board. Saint Laurent took a whack at it, didn't get it out. They jam it into the corner again. That's Steve Shutt working with it. Now it came loose. LaFleur out in front to Lemaire. A backhand shot. Perry Miller stopped it, and Miller shoots it right to Dryden. There's no icing. And 1 minute and 20 seconds. Larry Robinson winding up again. He played it into the Detroit zone. Miller. The pass hit a skate, but Larson starts Polonich out. Dennis Polonich over the line. Played it in behind the Montreal goal. Goes in after it. He bumped Dryden, fell down on top of the puck. And it's going to come out over the Montreal blue line.
And that was a good play by Dennis Polonich. Big Dryden has no license, so he is not a protected player when he's standing behind the net making a play.
1 minute and 3 seconds to go. The referee, Ron Wick, has gone over, and there's a timeout being called by Montreal Canadiens with 1 minute and 3 seconds to play.
And I don't know if Montreal know the score out of New York. I would like to know the score, because if the Islanders are winning, they are within 1 minute and 3 seconds of possibly being the overall point leader for the year.
Sid, if the Islanders tie, they will have 115 points, and if the Wings can hold off Montreal, no easy task, I'll grant you, with 1 minute to play, they would both have 115 points. The Islanders would have won less games.
Yes, Montreal would win because
Montreal would be considered.
Right. The Islanders have to win. Montreal have to lose.
So Dryden has taken orders from Coach Scotty Bowman as to whether or not he is to leave his net. He is all the way back into the goal crease. The face-off just over the Canadian blue line. Now here's Paul Woods coming out. He'll replace Polonich out on the right side. Andre Saint Laurent will take the draw against Mondeau. LaFleur's back on one of the point positions. They went back into the Montreal zone. Here's LaFleur, 1 minute to go in the game. Now Larry Robinson. Robinson on the move. He played it into the Detroit end. Gainey going in after it. Hit the side of the net with it. Larson played down heavily. Here's Errol Thompson. It didn't come out. It was kept in. It's dangerous in the Detroit zone. Mondeau hauled down. It came back now to Larry Robinson. Robinson putting it out in front. It went to the side of the net. Came back toward the line. And it's kept in by Lapointe. There's a shot and knocked away by Rutherford. He stopped LaFleur. A centering pass that's loose out in front. Miller's leaning over it. They stop the play. It'll be to the right side of the Detroit goal with 24 seconds remaining.
And talk about team effort. Every Red Wing to a man is just doing everything they can. They'll eat that puck if they have to try to get this game over as it is. Dryden is out of his net now. The empty net, Montreal zone. Lafleur.
Now Detroit is going to take a timeout. Excuse me, Sid. But the Wings want to talk it over.
And this is a good call now by Coach Bobby Crom to give his players like Paul Woods, Dale McCourt, Errol Thompson, Lee Larson, just give them a little breather here now with an important face-off in their own zone.
A few minutes ago, the crowd booed heavily when Montreal took a timeout. Now they cheer lustily while the Red Wings take one.
I'm going to try and find out, Bruce, from the Bud Lynch or someone if there's a later score in that New York game.
Very good. Well, it's 1-0 here. Dale McCourt from LeBreton and Jolly at 14 minutes and 34 seconds. The only goal of what has been a tremendous hockey game. It makes you wish we were going on right now. Win, lose, tie, or draw it.
And the report out of New York is at the end of the second period, the score is 2-2. New York Rangers 2, Islanders 2.
I'll tell you, if the Wings can hold on here, and still I repeat, it's a tough job against this Canadian firepower, but if they can, and they post that score in New York, don't you think the Islanders will be flying? For the last few minutes of their hockey game, it started a half an hour after this one. Now Dale McCourt, he's got Woods and Miller and Larson and Errol Thompson defensively in front of Jimmy Rutherford. Jarvis will come in to face McCourt off to the right side of the Detroit goal. 24 seconds in a heart stopper. Puck picked up by Reed Larson. He shoots it down the ice. It's going wide of the goal. Going after it is Errol Thompson. When he got there, that prevented the icing. Here's Paul Woods with it. Woods took the shot, deflected in behind the net. 7 seconds to go in the game. They battle in behind that empty Montreal goal. And LaPointe took a long shot. It came to Larry Robinson. This hockey game is over. Just listen to this crowd. Listen.
What a bunch of happy, only 16 players dressed, and they're the happiest 16 players of a club that finished in the basement. They did their job. They proved they weren't quitters.
Well, I'll tell you something. This has got to be one of the finest performances we have seen in a long time, Sid. And Jimmy Rutherford picks up his first shutout of the season.
Just amazing. You know, you just don't believe that teams will do this in a game that didn't mean that much to the Red Wings, come out and battle this mighty Canadian hockey club to a standstill and beat them 1-0.
Let's wait while they announce the stars. Kenny Dryden, picked as the number 3 star of the hockey game, was announced and comes out. Danny LeBreton, who really did the work on setting up that goal, the number 2 star. Now listen, you can guess who the number 1 star is. Well, I'll tell you, it's a great way to end the season for a club that has had trouble all year long. That's the end of the game, the final score. The Detroit Red Wings 1, Montreal Canadiens 0, and we'll return to Olympia Stadium in just a moment.
My Jeep pickup challenges you guys to take that hill.
Easy.
You got it.
Your automatic four-wheel drive pickups against my Jeep with Quadra-Track automatic four-wheel drive.
Normal automatic?
Right. The Chevy's losing traction.
The Ford's spinning its wheels.
Afraid the Dodge is slipping too.
Hey, look at the Jeep pickup climb. No trouble at all.
Gotta admit it. Under these conditions, Jeep's got the best traction.
And best traction means best pickup, huh, guys? See a Jeep dealer for test results that prove who's got the best traction.
Little Caesar's Pizza, tastiest in town. A winner anyway slice it. all the way around. The carry-outs are good and hot, great for nighttime snacks. Or sit down at Little Caesars, just order and relax. If you want variety, there's a family in for you. It's a winner, come in and see Little Caesars.
See your local TV book for a free pizza coupon.
Yeah, the banks are all alike. They say they want to help, but where are they when you need them? When I needed help, they told me that I didn't have enough of my money to get any of their money.
Sure, you guys have been banking with the wrong banks. The Bank of the Commonwealth, they helped me send my kid through college. Braces for my daughter's teeth. My wife's car. In fact, I get so much help from my bank, my family thinks I'm made of money.
Here, let's see you make this into money.
Trying hardest to help. That's the Bank of the Commonwealth.
Just like my family.
Hi, y'all. It's Gratiot Auto's birthday, and we're having a sale to celebrate. We've cut prices so you can enjoy tremendous savings on parts and accessories, like standard, high-performance RV and van parts, tires, wheels, shocks, headers, and much, much more. It's the biggest birthday sale we've ever had. Happy birthday, Gratiot Auto.
Sid Abel, Art Quattro, the organist here, as the fans were beginning to file out, played Thanks for the Memory. And with a season in which the crowd was a little unhappy with the play of the Wings throughout most of the year, I think it's just wonderful that they can go out with a memory like this hockey game.
Well, they couldn't go out with a better memory than this hockey game. This is probably the finest game that's been played in this building in many years. A game that meant so much to Montreal Canadiens, and I've never seen the Wings. Danny Bolduc, Paul Woods, and I don't want to just mention a few. They just went all night long as fast as they could, checked better than they have at any time this year. And you think now, Bruce, had they played like this midway through the season, we would be getting ready for the playoffs and not packing up and going home.
A little reminiscent of the way the Wings finished against Montreal a season ago. Well, Jimmy Rutherford gets his first shutout, the first shutout for the Red Wings all season. It came in great style, with Dale McCourt scoring a goal, but Danny LeBratton, who was picked as the number 2 star, was certainly the guy that made this play.
Well, Danny LeBratton is going to be a star in this National Hockey League, and he took a play. He just walked around the defenseman, took his shot, picked up his rebound, couldn't get it soon enough because of his speed, then threw it back out in front, and Dale McCourt luckily followed the play up. And you'll watch it hits McCourt's leg and stick, I believe, and bounces right through Robinson, who was in the crease with the goaltender out, and the only goal of the game, and a beautiful goal to get with about 5 minutes to go.
So it couldn't have been better with 15,711 fans, one of the big crowds of the season on hand to watch this final game of the 1978-79 National Hockey League season for Detroit. And I just hope it's an omen of things to come in the 1979-80 season. And on the subject of that one, as we tell you the final score here at Olympia Stadium, the Red Wings 1 and Montreal Canadiens nothing, we do thank you for joining us this season on TV 50, and we do, of course, invite you to be with us again for what we hope is another great season of Red Wing hockey here on television next year. Till then, this is Bruce Martin, along with Sid Abel, saying stay tuned now, won't you, for our post-game show.
This is Field Communications in Detroit.